Peace and Pan Africanism, peace and Pan Africanism. Peace and Pan Africanism, peace and Pan Africanism. Peace and Pan Africanism, peace and Pan Africanism.
How are you doing?
How we doing there, gorgeous? All right, I want to try your black-eyed pea hummus.
Okay.
I also want to do sesame kale salad.
Large or small?
Large.
Okay.
And what is tempeh? What is that?
Tempeh is cultured soy.
It's cultured soy. Let me go with I'm gonna try it. The smothered
tempeh.
How we doing there, gorgeous? How we doing there, gorgeous? How we doing there, gorgeous? I attended 3 predominantly white colleges. How we doing there, gorgeous? I went to Millersville University in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, predominantly white. How we doing there, gorgeous? Lehigh University, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, predominantly white. How we doing there, gorgeous? Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, predominantly white. How we doing there, gorgeous? There were white girls who were attracted to me in undergrad. How we doing there, gorgeous? There were white girls who were attracted to me in graduate school. How we doing there, gorgeous? There were white girls attracted to me in my doctoral program. How we doing there, gorgeous? I've always had white women who were interested in a romance with the Prince of Pan Africanism. How we doing there, gorgeous? I've always had that. They bought me clothes. They slid stuff under my door. They invited me out to dinner. They offered me cookies from their cookie jar. How we doing there, gorgeous? They left cards on my desk in the middle of class for everybody to see it. Yes, I had white women pursue me at every level of education. How we doing there, gorgeous? Did I date a single one? I did not. Did I disrespect them? I did not. I respect all human beings. I respect all human beings. But I did not date any of them. Were some of them attractive? Absolutely. How we doing there, gorgeous? Some of them were built just like black women. How we doing there, gorgeous? Some of them grew up with black women. How we doing there, gorgeous? Those white women were not unattractive at all. How we doing there, gorgeous? 5'5", thick in the thighs, but they were Caucasian. How we doing there, gorgeous? They were 5'5", thick in the thighs, but they were Caucasian. They were 5'5", thick in the thighs, but they were Caucasian. How we doing there, gorgeous? And I did not have intercourse with any of them. Ever. Ever. How we doing there, gorgeous? Okay.
I done found condoms, alcohol bottles all over the place. This is not the drink spot.
Cows, horses, chickens.
The loosey-goosey. You the loosey-goosey. You
I'm gonna go to the pet store and I'm gonna get about 50 baby mice. And the minute one of you Negroes starts squealing about election day, I'm gonna throw a mice on your ass. Black pigs.
All right, Cookie Crush chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I'd appreciate this. This is part 2 of the Labor Day Marathon we started yesterday. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. Cookie Crush chat. It's undefeated. Let's go.
FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's 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 coming. Oh, it's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. Thought his personality be twerking. It's twerking.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I appreciate it. Listen, yesterday we did a long live stream. It was a mini marathon. Today, I want to try to get through the rest of that video in 2 hours. That's going to be the goal. All right. I'm going to try my best. The Umar Johnson saga continues. And I was thinking about this today, that back in 2019, when Umar purchased these abandoned buildings in February of 2019, I thought in my mind that he would be able to continue this scam for another 3, maybe 4 years. It's 6.5 with no end in sight. That being said, I honestly, I don't think this is going to go past another 2 years. I don't think so. I think that what has happened over the years is that Umar's ineptitude, Umar's iniquity too, because a lot of the issues with Umar, it has to do with character. His immaturity too is a big issue. Just not operating like an adult who has their own place. He's been homeless since 2019, who has his own vehicle. He rents cars using donors' money. He lives with his mother when he can in Section 8 housing, and he doesn't take care of his children. And then the issue of him, it really became apparent yesterday as we were listening to the first half of the video that we're going to cover today, that Umar, he doesn't understand basic adulting behavior, like paying bills. And as I listened to it, I kept saying to myself, he sounds stupid. And I'm not saying that I know it sounds harsh, but it's like something's not clicking in his mind that in the real world, you have to be responsible and pay bills. And it's amazing to me. And this is why I don't think it's going to go past 2 years, 2 more years. It's amazing to me because if Umar doesn't have the mentality, the adult mentality to recognize that you have to pay bills and you should pay bills on time, then how is he going to run a school? What happens after renovations are completed in 2055? When operations take place, then what's going to happen? So in my mind, I don't see this going past another 2 years. I really don't. Now, again, I was wrong before. I could be wrong again. It's just, I think everything's caught up with Umar. And in addition to all of this, there's so much of his personal life that's out there, and the way that he's talked about, in particular, the women that he's dealt with. I think that has made a lot of people recoil from Umar. And then all the lying and the stories that he's been telling about his bank accounts being frozen, and Lenon got his bank account information. He set all that up way in advance of what's taking place now, because he knew what was going to come down the pipe. That's the thing about Umar. He's diabolical in that way. He even said, I hacked his bank accounts. I don't have nothing to do with any of that. I've never reached out to Umar. From a cybersecurity perspective, I know what the barriers are that should not be crossed. You know, on the other hand, Umar doesn't understand those barriers. So he'll tell his followers to go after people. He told his followers to go after his own daughter. See, that's beyond the scope. That type of behavior always catches up to you in the cyberspace. The point is that with Umar, all the stuff that has come to the forefront and all the lying and scheming that has become so evident, and a lot of people are waking up, including his followers, how he badgers his and disrespects his donors to such an extreme degree. I can't see this going past another 2 years. Now, time always tells the truth, so we're going to have to wait and see. I just find it fascinating that at this point where Umar is at, first of all, I didn't think that it would go on this long, but on the other hand, I can see where it could end sooner rather than later. And so in the poll yesterday, there were people who were saying 7 years more. I don't think so. He's getting up. He's 51. It's going to be difficult for him as he gets closer to 60 to continue with these shenanigans over time. All right. So we'll have to wait and see. I want to thank everyone so much for tuning on in. I appreciate it. Everyone's on the Cookie Crush Chat. Thank you all so much. Thanks to the mods as well for handling business. Today, what we're going to do is in 2 hours or less, we're going to finish up the second half of Umar Johnson's Father David interview, which took place on the 31st of last month, August 31st. And then we'll get through that whole video. And then I plan on live stream again tomorrow because I want to pull up the receipts. There's a brother that went out there and did a full tour of the exterior of the buildings. Let me see if I have that queued up. Is this right here? Yeah, this is it right here. He did a full tour of the external of the building, and it looked horrible. And so I want to get into this tomorrow. His YouTube page is FamerTube, or yeah, I think it's Famer or FamerTube. I can't remember. I'll verify that later. But he walked through exterior and covered everything that's going on out there. Of course, the mold and stuff. The drainage, just trash, filth, more graffiti, stuff like this right here. I remember when Umar first walked back here and there was trash in that little divot in the ground. and there's still, I don't mean to laugh, but there's trash in there. There's some shoes. See the shoes right there? And then see all this trash? Well, there was trash in there in 2019. And here we are 6.5 years later, and there's still, the Moyer sign is still up there. So tomorrow I want to go through this. This was fascinating right here. He covered how, well, we'll get into this tomorrow. I don't want to say too much, but shout out to this brother right here. I got to find out a way to get him send him a super chat, not a super chat, but a cash app, because that takes a lot. He's from New York. Again, I said this yesterday, and shout out to him. He told the story years ago. I think it was this brother where Umar was out there in New York, and they were at, and who verified it was Zora, because Zora was the one that protected Umar. This brother was out there at that event that Zora was at, and it was at a church or something to that effect. And there's a brother that showed up, and the brother wanted to confront Umar. They was going to fight, and Zora jumped in the way to save Umar and pushed Umar back into the church, and then closed the door and locked the door. Well, this brother told that story way in advance of Zora telling that story, and as it turns out, she was the one that protected Umar. Isn't that deep? Women protect the men these days. Anyway, we'll get into that tomorrow. At least that's the plan for tomorrow. Okay, if anything changes, I'll let people know. Okay, so let's get into it. Thank you guys so much again for tuning on in. I always say, if at any point you enjoy this live stream, go on and hit that like button. Yesterday's live, I think it got like over 35,000 views already. So the numbers are absolutely phenomenal. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the live stream yesterday. And also, if at any point during this live stream you like what you're seeing, or like what you're hearing, or interaction with in the quick question chat, go on and hit that like button, because that helps with the algorithm. Yeah, we got this 34,479 views already from yesterday's live stream. Okay, so this is part 2. There is also a poll. If you haven't gotten your poll question or answered the poll question, make sure you do that too during this live stream if you would like to do so. The question is the city of Wilmington sabotaging Umar Johnson? Okay, already we have 565 votes, and 92% say no, 8% say yes. Okay, and my vote obviously is no. Umar uses sabotage because he never wants to hold himself accountable, and he's a perpetual failure. He fails at so many things, and that's the thing. If you keep blaming other people, you're never going to learn the skills needed to make the change, or to change, so that you don't continue to fail. And that's why Umar is in the position that he's at today. Okay, all right. Quick super chats. Lewis Success. So he likes big hands and big jaws. Yeah. That woman has some big jaws. I mean, excuse me. I'm sorry. She has some big hands. I apologize. She has some big hands. Oh my goodness. Oh man, that sounds horrible. Thanks, Lewis. I apologize. Good Twin Form the AK says Black Queens for the Shango, Snow Bunnies for the cookies. Oh yes, my brothers. How we doing a cookie crush? How we doing my cookie crush African? Requesting to watch the Goonie Goon video tonight. Which Goonie Goon video are you talking about? You got, because are you talking about the Goonie Goon where Umar was talking about his Goonie Goons, or are you talking about the guy who acted like he was a Goonie Goon? Let me know inside of the chat room right now. I'll pull it up for you. A good Twin Form the AK. And thank you for the super chat. I have, in fact, I have a segment of that inside of the reboot for the First Shot community. I've been putting segments out there more recently. In fact, what my plan is I need to close out the first shockumentary where I'm re-releasing it, but I add extra stuff to it. I'm going to close it out this week. That's my plan, is to close it out this week, and then also to close out the interview with Mary Ann Lorient, where I've edited it down and I'm releasing segments and adding things here and there. I want to close it out this week, if not next week, and that way I can get back to focusing on shockumentary part 2, because it's been way too long. But I've been so busy with stuff. Thank you, Good Twin Form the AK. And I'll keep looking in here. Someone let me know in the chat room if Good Twin Form the AK answers. Let me know which. That was a mistake. I apologize. I apologize for that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I apologize wholeheartedly. Please, y'all forgive me. Please forgive me. I apologize. Man, it's not good. It's just not good. Yeah, someone let me know. Good Twin, Bad Twin, if he answers in here, what someone said, the goons he was supposedly on the that the phone video. Okay, so I think if you talk about Goonie Goons, where he's sending them to okay, the Goonie Goons, Goonie Goons, yeah, okay, when he's sending them to confront me, yeah, Umar. If people don't know, that's one of the reasons why I've stayed on him consistently over the years. Is at a certain point he was issuing physical threats of violence. This was years ago. And he doxed my personal information, my home address. He had a follower who did that in advance of him doing that. Rest in peace to her. But he did that, and then he told his Goonie Goons to come to my place of residence and confront me. So that puts my family in jeopardy. I didn't appreciate that. If you play games like that with the wrong one, and see, I was the wrong one to be playing with like that. See, I don't care who you think you are. See, there's a code, women and children should be, they should be off limits. That's why I rarely speak about his daughter. I don't like speaking about his daughter because of what she's going through. The other thing too is when that story hit though, when she exposed him as a deadbeat, which I've been talking about for years anyway, I was careful not to mention her name, her social media, and I even blurred all of the videos that I showed of her, and you can only hear audio. You couldn't see her face. Now, she was all over the internet, and people already knew, but that's just the way, that's ethics, and that's a code that we should abide to, you see. But Umar, he doesn't live by that code. He's a dishonorable man. So when he did that, that was his, he thought he was big and bad, thought he can bully me. I was like, okay, well, let's go. And here we are today. And look how things have turned out for Umar. So he can't complain, even though he does a lot of that. Anyway, I'll pull that up during this live stream. I uploaded it recently. And I'll pull that video up and we'll watch that. Thank you so much. Good to inform the AK-46 guy. I appreciate it. Nadia says, I think Dr. Umar will end up on American Greed and they will ask you to be part of the episode with your research. Yeah, I would do it. I would definitely do it. That's what I'm saying. Years down the line, I think that Umar will still have relevance even after the school scam is over with, whether that's a year from now, 2 years from now, or 7 years from now. Because what tends to happen is that these scam artists or even these cult leaders, they don't really get national exposure unless something extreme happens like Waco, but they tend not to get national exposure until after the fact, and then people hear about them and enough people hear about them. And then there's a documentary or something and it's on Netflix or Hulu or what have you. And in my mind, something similar to that, I'm not going to say exactly like that, but something similar like that is likely to happen with Umar. Because he's been at this for such a long time, and the digital trail is massive. It's extensive. The earliest video I found of Umar goes back to 2005, 2005, 2006, I should say. But the Umar's history in terms of what we do know about Umar, because I can go back to his childhood, I go back to his birth, and even before his birth, with his father having a child before Umar, and he had that child when he was in middle school. And then Umar's mother had a daughter before she had Umar. So I've done research into that. Even beyond that, going back to Jamal Johnson, his side of the family, and then the lie that they're related to Frederick Douglass and all this other stuff. Like I go research that goes all the way back there. But the point is that dealing with Umar, everything is out there in terms of that could be researched. The thing is, I've done a lot of the research already. And if they ever decided, let's say if it was a Netflix special, what have you, if they ever decided to do a document on Umar and they asked me to participate, I definitely would. And then I would provide them with the receipts that they would need in order to make that documentary as successful as possible. So we'll just have to wait and see. I will say this, that if a documentary like that, like a big scale documentary is done on Umar, the fact still remains that later on down the line, people are still going to be talking about him. I mean, he could be in prison 3 years from now from the IRS for wire fraud and tax evasion and misrepresenting how much money he's collected to the IRS under his nonprofit. But even after that, people will still be talking about Umar. And later on down the line, as more charlatans like Umar come onto the scene, in particular in the Black conscious space, they can always reference the work that I've done and other people have done on Umar as, in my opinion, the preeminent scam artist. Now, let me say this real quick, Nadia. Umar is not, he's not the most, and I hate to say it this way, he's not the most successful con man. No. But he's the most diabolical, and he's been the most consistent out of everyone that I've looked at. So let me give you an example, just as a comparative analysis. Look at Jay Morrison. Umar, I would say that Umar has raised in around $2.6, $2.7 million, probably a little more than that by now. because I've been giving that figure for about a year now. 2.6, $2.7 million. What I can say without a shadow of a doubt that since 2019 until 2024, Umar has raised a bare minimum of $1.6 million as a bare minimum. I actually think it's a whole lot more than that, but as a bare minimum that I can prove based upon his IRS filings. We're not counting 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 2018. That's 5 years plus this year, 2025. So 5.5 years. We're not even counting that. So this is to say that $1.6 million over the course of 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20, over the course of 6 years. That's a significant amount of money, but he's not the most prolific. The individual, in my opinion, who's been the most prolific in the Black conscious space, who raised way more money than Umar in far less time, in a far less period of time, is Jay Morrison. See, the difference, though, in terms of the amount of money, there's no comparison, because Jay Morrison was up there $11.5 million, $12 million with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. But another difference is that his run was relatively short compared to Umar, and his information in terms of his history isn't as readily available as Umar's history, because Umar has videos going way, way back, whereas Jay Morrison, relatively speaking, he was only on the scene for a relatively short period of time. Okay. And so what I'm getting at is that those types of things have to be looked at. Jay Morrison, in terms of the amount of scamming, amount of money he was able to get by scamming people, far outweighs what Umar has achieved. However, Umar has been at it for such a long period of time, and he has so many other tentacles to get money out of people too. As an example, the shockumentary he got money out of people for that he never produced. The Rules of Romance book that he was taking pre-orders for years ago that he still has not released. He was talking about how he was going to be doing after-school programs many over a decade ago. He has so many different things that he said that he was going to do, and that's why he's prolific. You know, he's going to have all of these different what does he call these conferences? You know, we're going to have all kinds of conferences. It's prolific. Now, most of the stuff that he said he's going to do, it never actually comes into fruition. But it shows that in terms of a scammer, when it comes to just coming up with different scams over and over again, no one can compete with Umar. Remember, Jay Morrison, his main scam was real estate at first, and we're going to be buying back the block, but then it transferred over to something a little bit larger in scale, a lot larger in scale. We're going to rebuild Black Wall Street and the Treff Tulsa Real Estate Fund. See, but when you compare his output in terms of the amount of scams to Umar, it's not comparable. So that's why I say Umar is he's the preeminent con man in the Black conscious space, not based upon how much money he's conned people out of, but the sheer volume of cons that he's run over the years. Every single time he says, I'm going to open up a school in different places, that's another con. That's another scam. You know, the Detroit school scam. I should pull that video for you guys. It's amazing how he was trying to sell that to people and lying throughout. Black Anonymous knows what I'm talking about. Shout out to Black Anonymous. Now, a Florida school scam. FDMG Atlanta, FDMG Ghana. I mean, he's international. He was over in Europe talking about how he was going to open up schools over there in these different Yorkshires and all these different places up over there. You see, so the output of scamming that Umar has done, no one even comes close. And that's what I'm saying. Later on down the line, years down the line, people are going to still be talking about, because he's a fascinating case study. And in my opinion, he's a preeminent example of a con man in the Black conscious space. Okay, thank you, Nadia, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Okay, we already got 1,292 people in the building. If at any point you enjoyed this live stream, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you get your vote in on the poll. I'd appreciate that as well. Okay. All right. Thank you again, Nadia. Iceman, what's up, man? Says, wait, I thought that if my gas and electric bill doesn't come in the mail, it was free that month. You sound like Umar. I got to stop listening to Umar. I know he wear off on people. If you guys start noticing you ain't paying bills, okay, they're going to have to stop watching the Umar videos, okay? So Umar, whatever you achieve, well, I got the people that's not paying their bills on time. Yeah, he lives in an alternate reality. You know, as adults, we have to pay bills. And if you don't, there's going to be consequences. That's the thing about Umar. And that's why I've said in the past that he's in a state of arrested development. He doesn't understand how there is a consequence for every action or inaction. You know, sometimes people say, well, for every action, you know, there's a consequence. No, for every action and inaction, there is a consequence. You know, so if you don't act on paying the bill, you just let the bill slide. There's going to be a consequence. But see, Umar, he in his own. That's what I was saying yesterday. I was saying he just sounds kind of stupid, but I think that's too harsh to say. And I kind of felt bad when I watched some of this today for me to say that. Really, what I'm getting at is that there's something mentally off with Umar where he doesn't understand that if you don't pay bills as an adult, there's going to be a consequence. If you don't pay your child support as an adult, there's going to be consequences. If you don't have a plan as an adult, let's say with FDMG, there's going to be a consequence. Okay, the list goes on and on and on. If you don't take care of your kids, there's going to be a consequence. If you, okay, the list goes on and on. But the point is that there's something in Umar's mind that does not compute this idea and notion that as an adult, if you don't pay bills, and in particular, you don't pay them on time, there's going to be a consequence. So the whole narrative that Umar starts to spin yesterday, which we're going to finish up today, all of this could have been avoided. The whole situation that he's in could have been avoided if, going back to February of 2019, he started paying bills from the jump. And it's not a lot relative to the amount of money that he collected, that he's been collecting. Again, $1.6 million since 2019 through 2024. We're not counting 2025. We're not counting 2014, 15, 16, 17, or 18. Furthermore, we're not counting all the money that Umar raised prior to 2010 that he doesn't even talk about. Okay. Matter of fact, we're not even talking about all the money that he raised prior to 2014 that he doesn't talk about. All right. So when we put all of that together, if Umar had handled business as an adult in February of 2019, he would not have had bills accumulating for 6.5 years. And then when the city finally says enough is enough, we're potentially going to sell these buildings at a sheriff sale at auction. Umar would never gotten to that point. So now what does he do? Instead of owning up to the fact that he hasn't handled business, he's a failure. He's a failed businessman, obviously. Instead of owning up to that as a man and being personally responsible and holding himself accountable, he has to concoct a story where he's blaming everyone else. Okay, so again, if you don't pay your bills, there's going to be a consequence. If you pay your bills, there's going to be a consequence, good or bad, because consequences can be good or bad. Right? All right. So any of y'all out there, if you stop paying your bills, okay, if you don't take care of your kids, if you start sniffing and blinking and shit, okay, you're gonna need to stop listening to Umar. Okay. All right. Thanks, Iceman Van. Handy Hightower says, been watching too many of your videos to not do something. Thank you for exposing. wait a minute. What? Been watching too many of your videos to not do something. I don't know how to take that. I don't know if you're complimenting me or I don't know. Are you a hater? I don't know. He said, thank you for exposing this cracked up clown. All right. Thank you, Handy Hightower, for the super chat. I think I've I'm just playing. Okay, thank you so much. The work needs to be done, and the truth is that there's still so much more work that needs to be done to Umar. Again, I've been working on the document. I just haven't had time recently because this whole year, this Umar saga, it's gone up to a whole other level. At some point during this year, when we have a holiday, we're going to do a marathon and we'll do a year in review. It'll be a full marathon, probably 12 hours. We'll do a year in review for 2025, probably down towards the end of the year, the Christmas break or something like that. And then, because what that also show is the timeline for this year, and which it'll show how crazy it's been with Umar. And I haven't had time to really focus on the second documentary that I'm working on like I would have liked. And only have so much time each day to get things done. This year, it's been, out of all of the years that I've covered Umar, it's nothing like it. Nothing like it. We go back to him when he goes on the rant against his baby mamas to start in and around the beginning of the year. Goes on a rant against his baby mamas and goes against his own daughter and chastises her online. That's what I don't like talking about, because it's wrong. It's fascinating because Jamal Johnson did that to Umar. And I've said it many times in the past, Jamal Johnson, Umar's daddy, should have never come out to speak about Umar, period. Not online. If he had an issue with Umar, that should have been handled privately. He's supposed to be a father. But he comes onto the scene and he's clout chasing off of his own son. What kind of father does that? And then he wants to cry victim and act like he's been victimized by Umar Johnson. Father, well, then shut your ass up. If you can't take the heat, shut your ass up. But then he keeps going. See, don't cry and whine about it. He sound like Umar now. See, so when his daddy did that, it's fascinating because his daddy did him dirty like that years ago. And listen, some of Jamal's criticism, it was legit criticism, but that's besides the point, homeboy. You're supposed to be his father. You're supposed to be the daddy. You're supposed to have wisdom. You're supposed to be an elder, but you get your ass online and start running your mouth against your own son. Regardless of what the past history is, have some fucking sense. See, he should have shut his mouth. I said a long time ago, he should have shut his fucking mouth, but he kept running his mouth. And then when Umar's followers start going at him, he started acting like a bitch and crying and whining and, and I can't believe you're talking about me. Well, you should have shut your ass up a long time ago. You see, I apologize. I'm just being real with it. As a father, that's not what he should have done. But isn't it fascinating that Jamal does that? Going back to 2000, I think it was 2017 when he first came on the scene and started going at Umar. And again, at first it was passive aggressive, but then Umar does the same thing to his own daughter. And Umar's supposed to be the father in that scenario. You know what? The kind of shit that Jamal Johnson used to do. Remember, I did the story about how Umar scammed King Randall. You guys remember that? And King Randall had paid Umar and sent him in advance to have Umar come out to go work with the boys at his school. And Umar didn't show up and never gave the money back. Y'all remember that? Well, after I did, I don't even think I broke that story, but after I may have, I can't remember, but after I covered that story, Jamal Johnson, bugaboo ass, what does he do? He goes down to go kick it with King Randall. What kind of dad? He wasn't doing nothing before that, based on what I saw. So much dysfunction. And so towards the beginning of this year, for Umar to go at his daughter, it reminded me of how Jamal did. And you know what's fascinating? When Umar's daughter came out and started spilling the beans, Jamal tried to shut her up. He wasn't active in her life. She didn't even know who her biological grandmother was. But she didn't go for it. And it wasn't too long after that. What does Jamal Johnson do? He takes all his social media down. That's how we kind of started this year. And then after that's been one thing after another, one thing after another. And so what I'm getting at, Handy Hightower, is that there's so much more that needs to be explored dealing with Umar. And there's so much information that's out there, and there's a whole lot more research. I've done a lot of research, but there's a whole lot more research that needs to get done. My goal and my objective is with the documentary is to have enough research done it can be like a primer for anyone who's trying to get into the Umar Johnson research space. Okay? And it's not just talking and running your mouth, to actually do your own independent research, start pulling receipts, and then start to put together your own timeline, because that's how the document is going to be. It's going to be based upon a timeline. Put together your own timeline with more information than what I share, maybe even correcting information that I share. And that way, the criticism can be rooted in your own personal research. And that's what really needs to happen. And, you know, it's interesting. We got to get going here. It's interesting because it's already started to a degree, because there's more and more people who are speaking out about Umar, unlike any other period in this whole Umar Johnson saga since I started covering Umar. Okay? So it needs to be done. Okay, thank you, Handy Hightower, for the super chat. Tippity Tappity. Let's see, is that really the twin? No, I don't think so. So if people don't know, Umar, I should pull that up. Do y'all want me to pull that up? Because that was an important interview right there. The good twin, bad twin, they interviewed Umar back in the day. And you can tell one of the twins was kind of feeling Umar, but the other one was looking side-eye, literally. Good twin, bad twin. I just need to find the date. He was looking at Umar sideways, and y'all should see how Umar, he sounds so ridiculous with what he was saying. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do this right quick. I don't think that's one of the twins that's in the chat room, but I would love, to have them come on and interview them to see what their perspective is of Umar now, because that interview, I'm looking right here, that was from over 5 years ago. So let me do this. I'm kind of being a little petty because I know I said we was going to do this in 2 hours. I'm being a little petty at this time, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not okay. So let me pull this up. This is from January 22nd of 2020. So let me get into my 2020 folder. Wow, it's amazing how time has flown by. Is that how you say it? Flown by. Let me see here. January 22nd. Yeah, I don't have it in this folder because I probably have it. Let me look up Good Twin. Yeah, here it is right here. So this is this is actually an all-time classic right here. A lot of people haven't seen this one, and Umar, you can tell he's having withdrawal symptoms during this interview. So let me just play a little bit of this, and then I'll get to the super chats, and we'll get going here on the main video. Okay, we already got about almost 1,500 people in, but thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I appreciate it. All right, here we go.
And how to come to support.
So those who want to support the Frederick.
So you see, these are the twins, and one's called the good twin, the other one's called the bad twin. The one in the blue was the one that was side-eyeing Umar. Look at Umar. He was scratching, you know, just the Pookie symptoms.
Donate on your Cash App at $FDMG School. That's cash.me/$.
Dang, he don't have that anymore. See him scratching his nose and stuff.
We say, well, what you doing? What you doing? And the sad part about it is, well, why you need to know that if you ain't helping? But I appreciate you sharing that information.
No problem. No problem.
How's it going today?
All is well. Glad to be back in Jackson. This is my 10-year anniversary, counting from 2010. You know, when I went international in the conscious movement. So, to me, it's very surreal, very reflective. 10 years of doing this on the international level.
Why he got on them jeans with a green dashiki, a medallion, and then a fitted cap off to the side? He all over the place.
20 overall, and so now we're going into a new.
Got his iPhone 2
decade, and so I'm just excited. We got the school, so I'm very much looking forward to making a transition from consciousness raising through the lectures to institution building with the school. So it's a
he's really looking bad.
Natural next step for me to start building instead of just spreading the information.
That's what's up. So, in terms of ETA, estimated time, what do you think that looks like?
There is no ETA because I don't know how long it's going to take y'all to give me the money to fix the school up.
So that's pimp talk right there. He said, I don't know how long it's going to take for you to give me the money. Wow.
What do you think?
It's $1 million to restore the campus.
You see how he says it's $1 million? He's talking about both sides of the street. But he's changed that over the years. Even recently, I called that out. He changes it.
Okay.
And until the campus is restored, it would be irresponsible for me to give a date.
Okay.
Wow.
School got to be restored. I mean,
listen, he's given at least 24 dates, grand opening dates. It's way more than that, but that's based upon my research, what I've actually shown inside the documentary.
The best part of this whole process is we have the school.
Right.
And we have a school that has enough space in it that not only would it serve as a learning institution, but it will also serve as a Black community organizing headquarters. So once we're open, I anticipate that our lights will never go off. There's so much that we can do, will do, and can't wait to do. So the timeline is up to the people, but we have the school, we own it flat out, it is ours. So half of the victory is already there.
Let's say kudos.
We now just have to restore.
Say kudos. So no curriculum is happening at the school.
What do you mean no curriculum?
See, this is the bad twin. He says, so no curriculum is happening at the school.
You can't because physically.
Physically the building got to be restored. So the school is empty until we get it restored. We got to get the electric done, the HVAC done, the plumbing has to be redone. The school is in beautiful structural shape though. If you walk through it right now, you would say to yourself,
that's a horrible lie. Again, this is from 2020. I could pull up videos from 2020 that show how those buildings look. In fact, just a couple of days ago, on the 29th of August, just a couple of days ago, this brother right here went up there and a frame or two and took video of this is the exterior. The interior in 2020 was way worse. Way worse. And then here's the exterior in 2025. It looks deplorable. Shout out to this brother again. It's deplorable out here. Look at this. And this is 2025. The video that we were watching was from 2025 years ago. Really, it's over 5.5 years ago. Look at this. Damn, there's no excuse for this. There's no way, people. See, it's like if you have your own place, whether you're renting or you're owning and you have pride in it, you're going to take care of it, right? You're going to make sure that the grass is cut and the trees are trimmed down and there's no mold growing. All these trees are overgrown. You're going to, I'm talking about not to be like this. I don't want it to sound sexist, but I'm saying as a man, if you had pride, and I shouldn't even do that. As a person, you should have pride. But in particular, as a man, the manual labor to keep your property, or even if you're renting, to keeping it looking respectable, you're going to put the time in. But Umar hasn't done that in 6.5 years. And that's why these bandos look, they don't look any better on the exterior than they did when he first purchased them. Except for he got some doors put on and he painted those doors in the mural. And then the sign. I've talked about that recently. But Umar's saying that these are, because he said the same thing when he was on Lord Jamar, that they're in excellent condition. It's simply not true. And here we are over 5.5 years later, and obviously they're not. Yeah, look at this is not this bush looks like a tree. That is a bush. You guys do realize that, right? That's a bush. That's not a tree. All right.
Well, how much does it need? Because everything is still intact. It was a modern charter school that closed down a couple years ago.
See,
excellent shape. The reason it needs the repairs is because it was vandalized the 4 years while it was closed. If it was not vandalized, it would be move-in ready. Literally, we would have moved in and just opened up class.
That's irrelevant. When you purchased them, they were trap bandos. They're still trap bandos.
But if that were the case, I probably would not have been able to afford it. The $750,000 we raised would not have been enough to purchase it. We still didn't have enough. They wanted well over $1 million, but I just stayed on them and stayed on them and stayed on them. And after 18 months, they finally decided to sell it to me. I couldn't believe it. So it was divine intervention that we even have it, because we still didn't have enough money for it.
Well, I'm glad that
you watched it.
Yes.
You're well on to your phases of
restoring it, and then operations, acquisition, restoration, operation.
Okay, so what are some other goals besides the school?
Well, in addition to the school, we're working on a Black Wall Street, West Africa project. I was given 50 acres of land in Ghana, and I want to replicate what we're doing in Wilmington, Delaware in West Africa. So I want to build an FDMG on the continent, an FDMG here, which is Delaware, and then we can have an exchange program and the children can go back and forth. So can the teachers do that? So everything I'm doing in the—
Who's paying for all that? That's expensive to be flying kids all to the continent and back and forth and back and forth, back and forth and back and forth. Some song I remember from back in the day popped in my head. Was it SWV or I can't remember. Anyway.
America, I want to also do in Africa, because it's Pan Africanist. We don't believe that you ignore your domestic struggle. I still have an obligation to my people here, but I also see the larger struggle, and that is doing what we need to do for ourselves permanently on the continent, because anything you build here, they can take it. Once FDMG is up and running, I'm going to automatically have to start thinking about how long before I need to repatriate to the continent. Because if my school does what it is born to do, and it will, I'm going to be too much of a threat. Just like with Black Wall Street. You got to know
do you hear this?
How long you got on your lease.
See the bad twin side-eyeing
before you get the hell out of Dodge.
See, he already has an exit strategy. This is in 2020. You know, once we open this one, I got to think about when I need to repatriate back to Africa. Remember, he got his Ghanaian citizenship. Pay attention. Put the pieces together. All right. By the way, I pulled up a video from February 9th of 2019 when Umar made the school announcement, and he does an outside tour. This is the outside. So I want to just play a little bit of this because you guys need to, I want y'all to notice something because he said these buildings were in great shape. Okay, this goes back to 2019, February 9th of 2019, when we made the school announcement video.
Peace and love, Black family. This is the Prince of Pan Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson, King Kong Consciousness. I'm giving you an outside tour of the FDMG Academy. That's what we're doing right here. This building that you're looking at right now, this building.
This looks state of the art to you? Remember on Lord Jamar?
This is the yard. This is going to be the yard.
Damn.
Okay.
There goes his rental car across the street.
This might be our garden. You know, we got to get that agricultural science in, but I think we're going to buy another piece of land to do the agriculture. I think we may leave this as
he's going to buy some more land to do the agriculture.
A playground.
See the trash bags?
Leave this.
There's trash bags. Listen, y'all, we'll get into this tomorrow. There's trash bags out there right now.
Playground
in 2025
for the youth. What you're seeing right here. This may stay the playground for the youth. This building right now, that's a small gym, small gymnasium. The building that you're looking at, small gymnasium. Okay, that's the entrance. We got some graffiti we're gonna have to take care of, but this is a small gym.
There's graffiti up there in 2025.
We're gonna turn this into a community center. All right, Patrice Lumumba Robert Sobukwe Community Center, where we want to do parties, meet and greets, you know, think tanks, town hall meetings. Obviously,
see that mold down the wall? It's still there.
We got to do some cleaning up. I'm gonna have to come in and do some cleaning up right here. Over here is the main school.
Watch, let me show y'all something.
Cleaning up right. Robert Sobukwe Community Center, where we want to do parties, meet and greets, you know.
See all this mold down the side? This is all throughout the building in 2025. Let me show you what I mean right quick. That's a damn shame. 6.5 years later.
Oh, jeez.
We'll get into this tomorrow. They did erect a fence over the last, I think, 2 weeks. And that's Umar. He has to get in compliance with the city because, you know, all the fees that have been accumulated. There's some of the stuff on the wall, too, right here. But that's why the reason why Umar has erected this fence. I told Umar back in 2019 that that's something that he should have done from the beginning. I've been telling him that many times, in fact, but that's a bush right there. Looks like a tree. But let me see if I can find that part where he's walking on the side. Yeah, this all mowed up here. But there's one, oh, and that's, see all that down that side right there? But there's another one. It's just horrible. See right here. Look at this. This is from a couple of days ago. See that? This is from a couple of days ago. This is the large gym right here. But this type of thing, this was going on back in 2019, and here we are 6.5 years later, and it's still going on. Look. See?
Think tanks, town hall meetings. Obviously, we got to do some cleaning up. I'm going to have to come in and do some cleaning up right here. Over here is the main school building.
Y'all see that? I wonder if he goes over.
Looking at the main here, but this is a small gym. We're going to turn this into a community center. All right, Patrice Lumumba Robert Sobukwe Community Center, where we want to do parties, meet and greets, you know, think tanks, town hall meetings. Obviously, we got to do some cleaning up. I'm going to have to come in and do some cleaning up.
Obviously.
Right here. Over here is.
Look over there. It's not as much back then compared to a couple of days ago. So see this? Oh my God. If y'all see what I'm saying, hit the one. Because this is the large gym right here. This is the large gym back in 2019. You don't see all of that mold that's there in 2025. Hit the one. It's a damn shame. Look at that. Yeah, Umar, he should be ashamed of himself. See that? You don't see that in this video right here. You see a little of it, but not like this. That's crazy. Let me play a little bit more of this one.
You're looking at the main school building. You're looking at the main school building right there, brothers and sisters. Okay. This is the main school building. All right. Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy.
See, it's up there, but it's not the same as in 2025. It's still bad. I mean, let me not understate. It still looks horrible.
All right. This is the main school building. Okay. Very large. This is the gym. We have a very large gym.
Yeah, it's worse. It's worse in 2025. Man, Umar, this is crazy. And this brother explains the reason why this is happening is because there's supposed to be these drainage pipes that go from the top all the way down and filter into this. You see that white pole pipe that's coming up out the ground next to the tree? If that is a tree, it might be a bush, but I think that's an actual tree. It could be a bush. But if you see that white pipe coming out the ground, it's supposed to connect to there and the water drains out there. But those on the side, those things, they don't exist anymore. I don't know what they're called. I can't remember what they're called, but it's just drainage. I wonder if they're up there. Let's see. I don't think so, because that's why you see that mold. Yeah, they're still not. They weren't there back then either.
All right. Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy.
Yeah. See that pipe right there? See, a lot of that water that's just running off the side, and that's a problem even for the roofing too. It has no place to go, so it just filters down the side of the building and it turns into mold over time. But it's supposed to go down into a pipe, and there should be I can't remember what it's called, but there because I used to have to clear those at the old house when leaves used to get stuck in there. But it's supposed to go down and have the water go down into that pipe. But what this shows too is that Umar hasn't fixed, downspout. That's what it's called. Thank you so much. A downspout. Umar hasn't fixed that issue in over 6.5 years. And that will affect not only the exterior of the building, but also the interior, because you have standing water up there on top of the roof. It's crazy. And then obviously there's mold issues as well.
All right. This is the main.
And it's not just mold, it's mildew and mold. Which you shouldn't play with either one of those things.
School building.
yeah. Basically, FDMG fungus decay mold growing. So, Umar, what are you going to be doing after school? Well, we're going to be getting the mold. We're going to grow mold and fungus. That's where there's going to be a science project. We're going to put on the outside of the building. We're going to have a farm. All right. I ain't heard that one before. FDMG, fungus decay mold growing. Yeah, I think it's apropos. I'm gonna leave it up there, Laurie, as we continue with this section. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Here we go.
Okay, very large. This is the gym. We have a very large gym. We can do all of our conferences, workshops, our Black Wall Street. Okay, very.
Even right there, there's a downspout that's missing. You see how you see the mold and mildew growing down. Well, that's where the downspout should be connected down to that white pipe right there, and the water should filter down through there. But Umar, he hadn't taken care of that. He didn't take care of it then, and he had to take care of it 6.5 years later. That's a serious problem.
Modern school in the inside. Very modern school in the inside. You're going to see that when you look at the inside tour video.
He said a very man, don't make me do it. This guy be lying so much. Hold on.
Okay. As you can see, we got some land back here.
Okay, watch
maybe
this.
We can put our Orisha shrines back here. Okay. Maybe we can put our Orisha shrines back here. You're looking at the main school building. This is the Frederick Douglass building. And look at this. We got a nice walkway. Brothers and sisters. We got a nice.
See how there's trash and shit in there back in February of 2019? Well, there's still trash and shit in there 4 days ago. Look. I think this is the part. Let me go scroll up a little bit. Oh, still graffiti, right? Yeah, this isn't the part. Yeah, we'll get into this tomorrow. Wait, I think this is it right here. Hold on, let me see. More graffiti. There's a chair sitting over there. Yeah, here we go right here. Look. Clothes and shit in the bushes. Wow, we got 886 people here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Okay, this is the era, but there's some shoes. But this right here, this is that same location. There's still shit over there in 2025. And if we go back to 2019, February of 2019, look.
And sisters, we got
Umar's coming from the other end, but
nice.
The point is that it's the same thing. You see all that trash in there?
Walkway. And this walkway goes all the way to the end. Look at this. We got a nice walkway. We got a nice walkway, brothers and sisters. We got a nice
look, and it appears as if there's more trash in there now than it was then. I'm being so petty. I apologize. I'm being so petty. You see this though? We're gonna get to this video tomorrow. That'll be what we focus on. Shout out to the brother too, who went up there and took this video. Okay, thank you, Laurie, for the super chat. Let's go back to this. I want to put a little more of this one.
Walkway. And this walkway goes all the way to the end. This walkway goes all the way to the end. This is beautiful. We can meditate back here. We can have a private cookout back here.
There you go.
Okay, you see the windows. We can meditate back here. We can have a private cookout back here. Okay. If the sisters want to come and do some yoga when it's nice and warm outside, when we do that Pan African picnic, we can come back here. Okay.
None of that happened.
We got the Boys and Girls Club right in back. We got the Boys and Girls Club right in back of us. Okay, they have a swimming pool in there. We're probably going to rent this swimming pool.
No,
so we can have the FDMG swim team. There's a large community park. Y'all see that park? That's a large community park. We can put a stage there, have our conscious hip hop concert, our conscious R&B concert. We can have over 100 vendors. We can have over 100 vendors, brothers and sisters. You're still looking at the outside of the Frederick Douglass building. Okay, the Frederick Douglass School building, state of the art, beautiful on the inside once we're done with the renovations.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Once he's done with the renovations. It's not beautiful on the inside.
On the
Let me
inside.
go pull that up.
Once we're done with the renovations, as you can see, it's a campus, brothers and sisters. This is a whole campus. This is your campus. Thank you to all my donors. We have 4 buildings. You're still looking at the Frederick.
It's 3 buildings.
Douglass building. I just took you around the Frederick Douglass building. I still have to show you the Marcus Garvey building. You saw the small gym. You saw the small gym. You saw the small gym, brothers and sisters. So here's one of the entrance ways up the steps to the Frederick Douglass building. Then we got all these large stones. They call a large stone.
Now you notice it says Moyer Academy. Umar paints it over and acts like it's sacred. Cult ass. He's a cult wannabe cult leader. And this is from 2019. I want to be clear about this. We're in 2025. We're getting closer to the end of 2025.
We're going to paint that. We're going to use the stones as altars for the Orisha. Okay, we got to put beautiful windows, tinted windows. And this is the Frederick Douglass.
We got to get some Dayton's on this motherfucker. I'm sorry. I went back to the old school for a second. We gonna put some Dayton's on this motherfucker. We gonna get the tint window, fam. We want some switches on this bitch. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have did that. I apologize. we gonna get a pull out CD player. All right. I'm tripping. I'm tripping, y'all. My bad. Sometimes I can't. I apologize. That's all I can say. I said to Jaw strong jaws earlier. All right, let's keep going.
School main entrance. Entrance. If the child is in the wheelchair, they can go up the ramp. If the child is in the wheelchair, they can go up the ramp. Okay, brothers and sisters. Okay, the Frederick Douglass building. We got about 12 to 16 classrooms. We got a cafeteria in there. Can't go in right now, brothers and sisters, because we don't have the electric on. We got to get the lights turned on. Now you're looking at the Marcus Garvey building, right?
So, no, what I did was I just reverted back because what he said, I'm sorry, when he said he gonna get the windows tinted, it just take me back to when I was a kid. You know, that's how we used to talk back then. I apologize. Yeah, yeah. He said we gonna tint the windows. I don't know why that's so funny, but it's hilarious. Here we go.
Across the street is the Marcus Garvey building. We have two buildings. Right across the street is the Marcus.
You see that cat? Anyone see that cat hit the one? If you saw the cat hit the one. Most of y'all didn't see it because it was hiding from Umar's ass. So anyone see that cat hit the one? It was sitting there hiding. Here he come. Here comes that big old. Oh man, let me show y'all that poor cat.
Is the Marcus.
Oh man, that cat, he's trying his best.
Now you're looking at the Marcus Garvey building.
There you go. He's like, if I stay still, he ain't gonna see me. I'm gonna deep down and stay still. He ain't gonna see me.
Right across the street.
Boy, that cat was on rat control. He on rat patrol. That's what he was doing.
Is the Marcus Garvey building. We have two buildings. Right
there
across
you go.
the street.
Look at him.
Is the Marcus Garvey building. This is where NIBPA, Team Pan African, the unapologetically African movement, administrative offices for all of our community, international movement for the independence and protection of African people programs. We got a ramp. Okay.
It's still over there. The cat, that's the security. He got cat for security. All right.
This whole block is ours, brothers and sisters. We're going to call this.
That cat's over there all smoked out and shit. It ain't even moving. Look at it.
Dr. Popper Boulevard. Dr. Popper of.
All right, Dr. Popper. That's fine. We're going to leave it right there, Umar. Anyway, the point is that these buildings were not in excellent shape. All right, Dr. Popper. Now, that's the outside. Let's go and look at the inside real quick. We're going to get to the video. Here we go.
I feel you on that. I'm glad to hear that. Let me throw this alarm on.
Watch this. See how it doesn't arm? Because he's lying. See, normally you'll hear a beep and then just start beeping to tell you that you got a certain amount of time to exit. Now, in 2025, when he does that, because now in 2025 he has electricity on that side of the street, you'll hear it arm. It'll beep, then it'll start beeping quicker beeps, so that you know how much time you have to get up out of there before it activates. See, this is just another example of Umar lying. What he did was he put batteries inside of the alarm system, but there's no electricity. So you can still put batteries in this. It's going to actually light up and everything, right? And so he used to run this. It's another scam that he would hit the buttons, but it's not because it's connected to the power, because there is no power, obviously. He does what he does. He hits the buttons on a little keypad and they beep. But once he puts in the fake code, you don't hear the system do anything. It doesn't arm itself. It doesn't give you any warning in terms of how much time you have to get out the building before it activates. Well, why not? Because it wasn't activated. There was no alarm system. Why lie about shit like that, Umar? He lies about stuff he don't even got to lie about. The fake phone call, you ain't got to do all that. And again, in 2025, because I've seen videos in 2025 where he actually arms it, and it's legit because you hear it. It actually arms. It goes through the arming sequence. Same thing if you come in, if it's armed, it's going to start beeping. You have a certain amount of time to put the code in before the alarm goes off, right? He be lying about stuff that's just totally unnecessary. Okay, here they are inside right here.
Nice light.
Shine a light on them. I ain't got no light. I'm getting it. I don't like it.
Who wanna? Hanera, let me use your phone. You ain't got it on, right? Just the light.
Just the light.
Yeah, most of these women aren't around anymore.
Okay. So here y'all see, we start with a classroom right here. Let's see how I can do that. Got a classroom right here. A lot of the books are still here. You know what I mean? So then, that's one classroom. That's two classrooms.
And this is just the middle school.
And this is just the middle school. The high school that we just came out of is much larger. But this is still good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Desks and stuff in there too.
Yeah. So that's 3.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot of damage to this building, it seems like.
That's more of an office. That's more of an office, but you couldn't make them into classrooms. That's your exit right there. This might be the girls' school. This might be the Anna Douglas, Amy Garvey Academy.
See the manipulation? That's the manipulation right there.
Bathroom, we got to, you see what they did in the bathrooms.
Excellent.
We got to restore the bathrooms. Bathroom, look at that. Brother Ron, you see this? I'm trying to understand what they was looking for up in my roof like this, because I don't know what's up there that's so valuable that you got to tell, don't touch no wires. Okay. Right here, a lot of the ceiling torn down, but that's nothing. That's probably going to be the computer room, because that's already set. And then there you go. Now that classroom is nice and ready. No damage. You see that one? Yes. No damage. So we in good shape.
Oh, that's big.
Here go some lockers for the babies.
Man, that's horrible.
Another large classroom.
They're not babies. They're young scholars.
Young scholars.
They're not babies.
Young scholars. Another large classroom right
Baby
here.
stops at 5.
Somebody said, why you got all the ladies with me? Don't worry about it. Half of them already married. Relax.
Lord.
All right.
That's what they gotta think about, right? We're talking about success. We're talking about history. That's what you're thinking about?
Another good
You know, he tried to
classroom.
women and manipulate them, you know.
Yeah, that's what Umar's doing. But you see all the trash and filth in here?
The lock.
Now, this is I believe this is the larger, let me see. I think this is the larger.
This school is a little smaller.
Okay, no, this is the smaller school. So he's actually, I give him credit because he actually cleaned a lot of this trash out of here. These signs right here are warnings not to drink the water. There's these signs posted on the doors. There's one near the above the drinking fountain too, because the buildings have been sitting so long that the water would have been contaminated. Plus the EPA situation too. But anyway, I give Umar credit. See that sign right there on the bathroom stall? I give Umar credit because he did clean a lot of this trash out of here. So I'll always give credit where credit is due.
Office, but you couldn't make them in the class.
But I want to make another point that he should have done this before he gave the tour. But you know, the idea of having women in particular, I don't mean to be sexist, but this is just how men should function as the protectors of women. He shouldn't have had women up in here in the first place in these types of conditions. No electricity, no light, trash and filth all over the place, exposed wires hanging out of the ceiling. Who knows what else is up in there? Again, these buildings prior to Umar acquiring them, they have been sitting for 4 years. No ventilation, right? Boarded up. He shouldn't have had anyone in there, especially women or children. And he had children in here too. He had a little boy in there at one point. I don't think it's this video.
That's your exit right there. This might be the girls' school. This might be the Anna Douglas, Amy Garvey Academy.
Yes.
Bathroom, you see what they did in the bathrooms.
Excellent.
We gotta restore the bathroom.
See that sign right there? That tells people not to drink the water because it's contaminated.
Bathrooms. Bathroom, look at that. Again. Brother Ron, you see this?
See the sign is posted there on the stall, but also on the door.
I'm trying to understand what they was looking for up in my roof like this, because I don't know what's up there. That's
damn. This is state of the art. It's in great condition.
So valuable that you got to tell. Don't touch no wires. Okay.
Damn.
Right here, a lot of the ceiling torn down, but that's nothing. That's probably gonna be the computer room, because that's already set. And then there you go. Now that classroom is nice.
I should take this video right now and put it into Premiere Pro and increase the lighting so we can see exactly what's going on up in there.
Ready, no damage. You see that one? Yes. No damage. So we in good shape.
Oh, that's big.
Here go some lockers for the babies.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said stay. What's up, Jay Witt? That's what he said. He said stay of the art. Y'all want me to do that too? I can do it while we're live streaming. Hit the 1, and then we can play it at the end of this live stream.
Another large classroom.
They're not babies. They're young scholars.
Young scholars.
Okay.
Young scholars. Sign.
Look at that.
FDMG school. It's just the
Let's get
roof.
through.
Computer room. Rehab the bathroom, y'all. Is that everybody out? Brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Wow.
They go tip the griff.
Shout out.
Tip the griffs.
Peace and love, black family. This is the Prince Scholars at Ifa Tunde University.
Yes.
They go Sharon.
Black power.
They go tip the griff.
Black power.
They go Leroy.
Yeah, baby.
They go Brother Ron. They go Cali man.
You got Brother Ron. No doubt.
Oh, that's Brother Ron right there. He looked like a twin to the other guy.
You know what I mean? So tell me what's your thing? Give me.
Let me stop. We ain't gonna do them like that today. Okay, so let's get back on track here. I don't know. We got so blown off, but it's all good. So what I'm gonna do is let me see, which video was I just playing? I don't know which one that is. Was it this one? No. It's this one. Let me see what the beginning is so I can. Okay, so it's him standing at the door. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and process this video while we're live streaming, if you guys don't mind. Okay, let me get all these other videos out of here so that we can get back on track here. All right, so let's get back to, let me do these super chats because I'm so behind. I have to do these quick because I know we said 2 hours, but we ain't got to the video yet. So let's see here. I got Iceman Bam. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Handy, thank you so much. Tippity, this is what got us blowed off right here. Okay, thank you, Tippity Tappity. Thidi Rata says, Mama Oya blew the goons off the stand. Yeah, speaking of the goons, Thidi Rata, let's go ahead and watch that Goonie Goon video, right? The Goonie Goon segment. And this is where Umar really messed up. Umar, he used to intimidate people, and he intimidated a lot of people to where they stopped talking about him. He's done that to a lot of the women that he's exploited too, sexually. He's done that to them. But he really messed up. And I think it's a miscalculation on his part because he probably assumed, because I tend to have a more reserved demeanor and I'm kind of laid back anyway. You know, I don't get all excited about shit. I just don't. It's like, okay, all right, okay. You know, I'm just kind of like that. I'm chill. Unless you fuck with me. See, I'm of the opinion that the people who are chill, they shouldn't be fucked with anyway because they ain't messing with nobody. Leave them alone, right? So Umar, he goes on this campaign to try to intimidate me. He intimidated other people too, but he assumed that I would back down. But that's not the kind of person that I am. I've never been like that. I don't care who it is. Okay, right is right and wrong is wrong. And if you try to intimidate me from speaking the truth, then okay, let's go. Right. So I'm going to play this segment because someone had asked earlier for it. And this kind of gives a little bit more insight as to why I've been consistently covering Umar since those days. All right, here we go.
Because let's face it, a woman can be the heart and the soul of a man. She can lead him to great things, but she can also tear him down if she's not the right woman. So you being single, how has that affected you? And do you get approached by women often?
I get approached by women. I think it comes with the territory. Women, I think, are naturally attracted to men who exude a certain type of aura. I've been told I have a very Shango type personality. They like men who are in the forefront, who are powerful, who are leaders, who are organizers, who are educated, who can take care of them financially. So I kind of meet all those requirements.
I'm right here. Come bring it. Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. I
answered the call. I do not have a criminal record. I have never done time in a prison or a jail. But these 4 individuals have went too far. One of them is I need this motherfucker's address. I'm going to go see him this weekend. Enough is enough. Number 2 is homosexual. Find that coward's address. Work or home. Find it. I'm pulling up on him. He's been hiding out lately, but he started the whole shit. He a little bitch
from Philly, we used to work at the same charter school, Keppera Charter School. Okay? Find that because he started this. I'ma see your okay? And another one is she's the one on YouTube. I want to pull up on her when I go out to for the parent training. LenonHonor. I'm tired of this bitch. This is the weak ass dude who got nothing but YouTube videos about me on YouTube. LenonHonor. I had enough of him too. LenonHonor, I'm in your ass. 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 Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. I got this. We are in the middle of a war. I want all my Dr. Umar supporters, Team Ifatunde, suit up, buckle up, grip up, because I'm done.
Oh, man. Umar be tripping. He be tripping so bad. Somebody said no Diddy. What in the world? Well, I try to tell y'all, Lene, what you do to this man? I know this is in the past, this is before, but anyway, you know, temporal mechanics. We're gonna get to the temporal mechanics, Star Trek, all right. Oh man, y'all crazy in this chat room. Pause. No Diddy on the De Niro Jones. Why you got what's his name on there? He's a blood. All right, let's keep going.
With the dumb from the haters. Shout out to the Goonie Goons who been reaching out to me. Goonie Goons is ready to do what they need to do. My goons is ready to pull up on him.
The mythical Goonie Goons that Umar Johnson is referring to would be the same so-called black boy thugs that Umar Johnson wants to murder.
Hey, a lot of information, man. That's what he said. Allegedly. Allegedly, that's what Umar said. Shout out to information, man. All right, let's go. Here
Boys who got the thug energy.
Shout out to the Goonie Goons who been reaching out to me.
I know, because I do therapy with them thugs.
Shout out to the Goonie Goons.
But I'm telling you, as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep. Fuck that!
Shout out to the Goonie Goons.
I am a representative of Team Infants and Tuesdays for Principal Mr. Dr. Umar Johnson. That's right. My name is Big Squad.
He said Principal Mr. Tuesday.
And I'm a representative of the Central Illinois team of the Goonie Goons.
Goonie Goons.
Okay. The white man wants us to think they all unreachables. 90% are reachable. 10%?
Goonie Goons.
We gonna have to have a civil war with them, and that's facts.
I want all my Dr. Umar supporters, Team Ifatunde, suit up, buckle up, grip up, because I'm done with the dumb shit from the haters.
Hey, Mr. Dr. Umar Johnson, we got them, bro. You don't gotta say no more. The Goonie Goons, man, everybody out of Bone Gap and Kish Cashkill. Yo, we ride the Chicken Necks and all the Goonie Goons. We doing this. Team Infinite Tuesdays.
Looking forward to seeing all my brothers who ride with me, my Goonie Goons who ride with me from Chi. The brothers in Chi ride hard. They hit me up. They say, Doc, if you have any problem, call this number. We not playing. You understand? We will do time for you. We will die for you. If you ever have a problem when you come to the city, you hit me up. So I got like 50 goons.
But I'm telling you, as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep. Fuck that!
Well, I ain't worried about why Mr. Principal Dr. Umar Johnson ain't made his school yet. You know how to make bricks? You know how long it takes to make bricks by yourself?
How long?
What's wrong with you? You gotta make bricks. You gotta teach. Teachers teaching.
Yeah, you do. You gotta teach.
You know how hard it is to teach teachers teaching?
Yeah.
So you can go out and teach. Making bricks like brick bricks, not cocaine brick bricks. I don't even know. Say
That's a lot of work.
Y'all hating on the man who the foremost voice for black folks everywhere where people live at. We ain't going for that shit, man.
LenonHonor, we got to get it.
Okay,
LenonHonor, we coming for you.
Here we go.
Oh, we coming for you. Oh, we coming for LenonHonor. Oh, yes.
Umar Johnson's father had this to say about Umar's threats of physical violence.
Okay, Umar, I know you know where I am.
All right, see, his daddy shouldn't have did all that. This clout chasing off his own son. He was a deadbeat too. Anyway, there you have it. Okay, let me do these other super chats real quick, then we're going to get to the video. Thank you again, Thierry Vera. Daxter sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much, Daxter. I appreciate it. Also, Daxter says, shame, shame, shame on Jermaine. You right about that. He ain't got no shame. I don't even think it registers. Thank you for the super chat. Yellow Man says, got to keep in mind with the feds, everything is a charge. Yeah, you're right about that. The thing is that Umar, he's not a strategist, and he's impulsive. Why would you start going after city officials there in Wilmington? Because all it would take would be one phone call from one of those offices to the feds and say, hey, can you look into this guy's finances when it comes to his nonprofit? And they'll subpoena all that shit. And then that's it. One phone call. And then they would just start tracking videos. They may have already started doing that. They can contact me. I got all that. Hey, well, hey, listen, you can watch some of these videos. I have all of this. You can watch the documentary. It's all online. The point is that they can start looking at what he's saying, what he's doing, what he's quoting in terms of the amount of money that he's raised, what he's reporting to the IRS, and then cross-reference that, his bank account subpoenas, CashApp subpoena, CashApp records subpoena, his GoFundMe records subpoena, his PayPals, PayPals, his personal bank account, his mama's bank account too, because y'all best believe if Umar's in charge of her money that's coming through from the government, you best believe that he's spending some of that money on himself. It just takes one phone call. So yeah, you're right about this. See, it just goes to show you how I don't know. I know it's harsh to say this, but he's stupid. Just stupid. Thanks, Yellow Man. Crystal says, Umar will be 7 years old, still requesting cash app, telling us his dying wish is to see FDMG open before he takes his last breath. And that would be so sad. I don't think it's good, because that would necessitate 19 more years. I don't see how well, shit. I mean, he's been at this for 20. So, you know, another 20, maybe. Real quick, now that you bring this up, Umar, he conceptualized FDMG back in 2004. He says 2005, then he says before that. So let's go with 2000. Let's go with 2004. He was 30 years old. He's 51 now. Ain't no telling. I mean, that would be the longest con potentially in human history. No, I wouldn't even say, because there's probably people who've come along with it. But for one thing, the FDMG, this would mean that Umar, he's been scamming on the FDMG. If he conceptualized it in 2004 and he goes until he's 70, he's 51, that's another 19 years. 2000, yeah, that would be roughly a 40-year scam. Yeah, that's right. It'd be about a 40-year scam. Yeah. You know, could it happen? It could, but it's just time. I mean, time. Ain't no telling what, I mean, if Umar's where he's at now, I mean, where would he be 20 years from now? I mean, there's a lot that's going to change in 20 years in his life. I don't want to say too much, but there's a lot that's going to have to change after about 20 years to where he can't be dependent on people for certain things. I'll leave it right there. Again, I think that this is going to go for another 2 years. And I think that after that 2 years, by that time, the IRS is going to catch up with him. And he's going to be put up on some charges for wire fraud and for tax evasion. and then misrepresenting how much money. That's tax evasion too. How much money he's collected to the IRS. See, I'm going to tell y'all something else. Umar's already in trouble because if the IRS decided to go back and look at how much money he collected from 2014 through 2017, he didn't get his tax exempt status until 2015. He had it for 2015, his first one, 2015, 2016, and 2017. But he never reported anything to the IRS. So all that money is considered to be personal income, but he's collecting it under a nonprofit. That right there is a problem. That's tax evasion. That's misusing the system for your own personal gain, not because you have a nonprofit where you're helping. Because the nonprofit idea is that you're doing something for the community and helping other people. But Umar wasn't doing that. He was collecting the money and not reporting to the IRS how much money he had collected. That right there, there's charges that can be applied to Umar. I mean, those charges can be applied right now. I mean, those charges could have been applied back in 2017. So he got problems one way or the other. But could it go until he's 70? I think that's a little too far out there, simply because of he's already 51. His body's not going to be able to operate. And even today, you can tell if you guys go back to 2014 and see how animated Umar was, and you compare it to where he's at today in 2025, roughly 11 years later, there's a massive difference. So can you imagine 10 years from now and then 20 years from now? What I think, Crystal, is that at some point Umar he'll pivot. He'll run this scam as far as he can. Again, I have to say about 2 more years. I mean, man, if it goes longer, I mean, he could, but damn, 2 more years, and then he'll just pivot to something else. That's what I think. You know, it's also real quick. It's also possible that he'll pivot, but then it'll be under the banner of FDMG. So he's still continuing the FDMG scam. It just wouldn't be an FDMG school scam. Okay? So we'll have to wait and see. But damn, 70 years old, talking about get on your Cash App, that'd be wild. Thank you, Crystal. Chastity says, I watched part 1 at work, and even we in Umar's circle are enablers. Listening to him whine about his bills was a shame to watch. Yeah, that's the thing. Yesterday, it's revealing because, Umar, it almost sounds like he's a child almost, crying and whining about paying bills and wanting to get some sort of special arrangements made for what? Because he paid $30,000 on water for a separate bill. And then see what it shows is either he doesn't have any money or he has money that he doesn't want to use to pay off this other issue, right? So he pays the $30,000 allegedly. Okay, we have to say allegedly because he never provides any receipts. And then somehow he feels like the city should give him some sort of a deal, even though these bills that he needs to pay now are 6.5 years due. Now 6.5 years accumulated. Now he is telling people that he's paid them all off, but the city is saying that he went into a payment arrangement. I believe the city. So either way, Umar didn't have the money, or he had the money and didn't want to spend the money on these bills. Okay, but what does that show? It shows that Umar, he's not an adult. He's not adulting at the age of 51. He's not being responsible. He's not doing his fiduciary duty by any means. So when we see Umar, when he's whining and crying about bills, and then his followers take pity on him, you're enabling this 50-year-old fucking years old man to continue to operate in a state of arrested development as an irresponsible deadbeat scammer. Now, I'm not here to berate you Umar Johnson followers, but I just want you to be clear that that's exactly what's happening here. When you defend someone who's not even willing to take the money that you've given him for free, most of which he's used on himself, he's unwilling to put the bills, to pay the bills to keep the property, because he could have done this at the beginning of this year. He could have paid these bills off instead of throwing those shitty block parties and wasting money on them shits. He could have paid these bills off, or starting in February of 2019, he could have paid the bills off each month like most of us do as adults. You pay the bill. But no, we want to enable Umar. I shouldn't say we, but you, Umar Johnson, you want to enable him to continue to be irresponsible with y'all's money, but even still as a man to be irresponsible and whine and complain about paying bills. Yeah, it is. Yesterday, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to see someone who's 51 years old. He's collected bare minimum since 2019, from 2019 to 2024, bare minimum $1.67 million as a bare minimum. Think about this as a bare minimum. If we take $1.6 million and we take out the purchase price of $400,000, we got about $1.2 million. Have we seen $1.2 million go into renovating? Have we seen $1.2 million going into renovation expenses and also bills? No, he wasn't even paying the basic bills. Where'd the money go? All right. But you see, if you defend that type of behavior, the behavior of a con man, you're enabling Umar to continue to do what he's been doing for over a decade. And truth be told, over 2 decades, because he was trying to scam the UNIA going back to 2005. I have the receipt. Thank you, Chastity, for the super chat. A good point, too. It's enabling. La Holmes says, off topic, it's my birthday. Okay, well, happy birthday to you. We needed a break anyway. Okay, today I just said, Umar, get up on her already. So happy birthday to you. Let's wish La Holmes happy birthday today. I hope you had a wonderful birthday, and I hope your next birthday will be even better than this birthday. Okay, happy birthday to you. All right, thank you for the super chat. Iceman Vamp says you should play the whole video of the guy that was acting like he was one of the. Oh, I just played it. Yeah, I heard that guy Styles or Network TV. Styles or Network TV. Oh, I don't know who that is. I heard that guy Styles. I thought let me look this up real quick. Oh yeah, because his thing is Network. Oh, he passed. Network TV. Yeah, where'd you hear that from? Yeah, it just popped up. March 29th, someone had made the announcement. Yeah, let me go over here. Yeah, that is this brother. Oh, so rest in peace. Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah, the last time there was a post on there was oh no, that's not his what you call it though. Let me go and see. Yeah, I see something from 2 years ago. Let me check this out. Hold on a second. Yeah, I see from a month ago, people, they're saying rest in peace. Yeah, so yeah, rest in peace to this brother. I remember I contacted him too to ask him if I can use that in the documentary, but people have reported on that. Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, let me see. This is from March. Someone reported on it March of this year, March 29th of 2029. Yeah, rest in peace to the brother. I did not know that. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Iceman Vamp. Yeah, he was cool too. I contacted him, said, is it okay if I use this inside the document? He's like, yeah, it's all good. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you guys don't, and thanks, Iceman Vamp. If I can go back real quick, this is what I'm saying, Crystal, so much can change. Because I did that documentary, I think that was what, in 2020 or the end of 2019. Let me check real quick. No, it was March. I released it March 14th of 2020. Yeah, so I just want to make a point too. Again, the idea of Umar doing this for another 20 years, I just think it's a lot of time, and so much can happen within that time period. And again, just now at least I just found out that the brother that I played the video, he does that comedy, really comedic skit about the Goonie Goons. That brother passed earlier this year. And I was I had to have been in communication with him at the beginning of 2020, possibly the end of 2019. And here we are all these years later, and he's deceased. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be difficult for Umar to continue with this because there's so many things that can happen in life over the course of a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years. And in this case, let's say another decade, another 2 decades. Rest in peace to the brother again. Wow. Thank you, Crystal. And thanks for letting me know. I think I saw someone mention that, but I wasn't sure what they meant by that, but I know what they mean now. Okay, thank you, Iceman Vamp, for that. Rest in peace to the brother. Lewis X says, if Umar is carrying around FBI files, he ain't going to jail. They'll make him disappear a while, then repackage him as Pastor Johnson. Then he'll demand donations to build a church. I've talked about this with Umar. Remember, I brought up Jay Morrison, because what tends to happen with these scammers and people who they scam their whole life, right? They've been at this for a long time. Umar's been at this for at least 2 decades. Jay Morrison, his rise to fame, his rise to get to the level of the TREF. What was it? The TREF fund. That was a relatively quick rise to get to that point. It was not like he had been putting in work scamming for like 2 decades to get to that, to get up to where he was $11.5–12 million. But the point I want to make is that when things begin to fall apart with Jay Morrison and he starts to get exposed, more and more people start speaking out about this TREF fund and how they didn't get any what do they call that? Payouts, but there's a term for this, because they have it in Monopoly too. I remember from back in the day, dividends. They weren't receiving dividends and all this other stuff that was going on. Him buying the black house, which really was for him. It wasn't really, it didn't produce any profit or anything like that. He blamed COVID, but still, you shouldn't be investing in major properties like that. And furnishing them and renovating them. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be taking care of the investment for the people as the investment manager. You should be taking and handling this so that these people get some sort of residual or return. He didn't do that. It was smoke and mirrors. The point that I'm getting at is that once all of that fell apart, what did Jay Morrison do? Well, he tried to pivot. And what did he try to pivot to? The black church. Don't worry, I got the receipt. Hold on 1 second. I mean, when I saw this, I was like, damn, no shame. You gonna try to do that and try to do this to get into with the Lord now? Try to get the money like that? Here you go.
Now, if you're truly grateful, can you give God some praise in the room? Come on. Come on, that's it. We thank you, Jesus.
Amen. Oh, it's a fake ass. Listen, I'm not even Christian, okay? I'm not. But I got respect. Right? Got respect for the Lord. It's not something to be playing with. It's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something to be trying to grift onto. That's what he's trying to do here. He tried to get into the black church space, and he's so goofy, sitting up here looking goofy, sounding goofy. Nothing genuine about it.
Let's praise God, New Birth. Let's praise God, please.
See, he wasn't talking all that praise God talk back when he was getting all that money out of them people.
Heavenly Father, Yahweh, thank you. Father, we are so grateful, Father. We are so grateful. Thank you for allowing us to arrive here on time, arrive here in one piece, arrive here with a heart for you.
He got some nerve. It pisses me off. Let me let him go.
You, Heavenly Father, thank you, thank you, thank you. Family, my name is Jay Morrison. As I was introduced earlier, I'm gonna you can keep that playing a little bit if you.
You don't have to tell the band to keep playing. They know what to do, goofy.
If you don't mind. I just want to allow God's presence.
Jay Morrison, I want you to sing a church song. Just one of them. You don't know none of them. You don't even know the old Negro spirituals, do you? Goofy.
To fill the room and to fill our hearts.
This is such a shame. I mean, damn. Talk about another Sauron.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah, you ain't never heard of him? Yeah, this is Jay Morrison. His real name is Jermaine, like Umar. I don't know what it is about these Jermaines. But he is a 3-time felon. He used, and I didn't hear the judge, but he said he did porn back in the day. Then he was a real estate guru, but he's not one. Never was. It's all smoke and mirrors. He got him on the Breakfast Club, right? He was trying to get us a building for Angela Yee because he was acting like he was big time and flossing and all this shit. Then he comes up with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. It was an investment situation, and he racked up to $12 million of black people. It was other people, mainly black people's money, and it was a scam. And how he played it out at the end, he got over on them people big time because he ended up with the $1 million home, development property. He sold the black house. He didn't issue no dividends to the people who put the money in. And I have the video where he said he wasn't going to sell the black house. But I've been wanting to get back into all that. But anyway, watch this.
So grateful. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father.
Listen, lady, get in key. I'm sorry. That bothers me too, right there. When she says, hallelujah. I said, ma'am, if you can pick a key. It don't matter which key you pick because the band gonna figure it out, but pick one. I'm sorry. I've been so petty this live stream. Anyway, let's keep going.
You're a great God. We're grateful. We're grateful tonight, Jesus.
There you go. There you go. You own it now. All right. Thank you.
So grateful.
You still tripping a little bit. You still tripping a little bit. That's okay.
I thought I was going to use this for sweat, but for tears first.
Here we go. Here we go.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father.
He wasn't talking no Father, Lord, none of that stuff when he was getting all that money. But once it came crashing down.
Hallelujah.
You need to cut it out.
Hallelujah.
Stop.
Thank you, Father.
No.
Thank you, Father. Family, I'm going to just lead us in a word of prayer. Everyone, please pray how you're comfortable praying.
What you mean, pray how you comfortable playing? It's church. What is this? He said, now we're going to do some prayer. You pray however you were comfortable praying. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What you talking about, Tommy? That's nuts. He's like, pray however you want, however you're comfortable. If you want to pray to Allah, go ahead and pray to Allah. You want to pray to Allah, go and pray to Allah. That's fine. However you feel comfortable. Boy, this guy is nuts.
I'm going to pray how God has led me to pray as we open up to receive his word. What I'm so excited about, these are tears of thanks, tears of joy, of gratitude.
Cut it out, Goofy. There's people who said that he's like Umar, like he doesn't know how to function in society. You know, like he's kind of, I don't mean to say it this way, but he's kind of stupid. You know what I mean?
Dude, what I'm so excited about is God has gave me a clear word for us tonight.
Cut it out. And he's taken all of his social media down.
It's not my word. I promise you it's not my word.
No, don't. That word, with whatever word coming out your snake tongue, ain't got nothing to do with the Lord. So this is your word.
He gave me a clear word.
No. Cut it out.
For us tonight. And I just thank God for being able to use me and to.
Oh man, I can't even watch no more of this. Some bullshit if I ever done seen any. I used to play piano at a church. See, again, have respect. You don't even got no respect. But the point is that you see how Jay Morrison, he had to pivot. Well, Umar, he can do something like that. He may pivot. I mean, could he open up the Germaniac church? Yeah, he could. He go about the Germaniac church. But see, there's some differences between Jermaine and Jermaine, meaning Jermaine Shoemake, or as Tasha K so eloquently says, Jermaine Shoemake. I laughed my ass off when she said that. You know what? From now on, Umar, we will refer to you when we talk about you and use your given name. We're going to say Jermaine Shoemake. Listen, Mr. Shoemake. Anyway, there are some differences between the two. And one of the glaring differences is that Jay Morrison, he was consistent enough and could be consistent enough and focused enough to be able to have a building where he's there consistently. Not only did they buy the Black House, but they renovated it and they furnished it. It looked really, really nice. But he was able to have a base of operation that he was able to put together. Okay, again, he collected way more money than Umar, but that's besides the point. The point is that he could, if Jay Morrison, because he's able to have a levels of stability, or at least he had levels of stability, he can actually do something, right? Okay, not necessarily for his investors, but he could do something for himself. Umar can't do that. He's still struggling trying to pay basic bills. He's been homeless since 2019. And the difference is that Jay Morrison had some level of organization skills. He also had people that were working with him, right? Umar has no organization skills, and he has no one working with him, and he doesn't have the focus to be able to sit down and go from point A to point B to build something to where is something that is stable. See, now obviously they're both scammers, but in the course of time, Jay Morrison was able to have something that was stable. It's just it wasn't profitable. Umar, he doesn't have anything that's stable, and it's not profitable either. See, it's a money pit. This FDMG trap bandos. See, 6.5 years in. Anyway, so the point is that, someone had brought up in terms of Umar, could he go that route and try to get into the church space, whatever? He could try, but I think it would be more difficult for Umar because he's always talking about Ifa and African spirituality. And to try to get into the black church space, he would have to have like a serious PR campaign in order to shift people's perception of him from someone who is more into the what we would call Pan Africanist spirituality, even though there's not even there's really no connection between the two. That's just something that Umar kind of he morphs, he amalgamates things that really have nothing to do with each other. But if he was able to do a PR campaign and then start to shift people's perception to where he's no longer seen as someone who's involved with Ifa and doing rituals and sacrifices and all this other stuff, then he could probably try to slowly but surely get into that space. Whereas Jay Morrison, he didn't have a quote unquote spiritual type or religious centric. For him, it was about bling, bling, money, 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 money. He used to call himself something like Swaggy Delicious or whatever bullshit sound, whatever he said. Swaggy P Delicious, something like that. He didn't have that background with him, so it was easier for him to at least try to get into the church space, but it didn't work. See, Lord wasn't having it. By the way, let me play something else. This just goes to show you how much of scammers him and his wife were, and this ties to playing on the emotional space of Black people dealing with the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, and they were doing shit like this. Laughing all the way to the bank. She was in on it too. She knew what was going on. No shame. Didn't make them investors not one dime. Well, I shouldn't say that. He did do one set of dividends, but I think it was like for $2. That was earlier on. Didn't even beat inflation. No shame. I wish I could find that video where she got baptized. Because part of it was she was converting, I guess, over to Christianity. So she gets baptized and she got in that water. She jumped out that water so quick. I said, yeah, when you up in all this scamming and doing the devil's work, that's what's going to happen. That water, it's burned. It starts stinging on that skin. You get into it. That's real talk. She jumped there right out. I have the video. I don't remember where I put it. Anyway, okay, let me do these other super chats. We got to get going. Okay, I know now we're almost 2 hours in. We haven't got to the video today. I said we're going to do 2 hours. Thank you, Titi Vera. And thanks, Daxter again. And here we go, Jermaine. Yellow Man, thank you again. Crystal, thank you. Chastity, thank you. And happy birthday again. La Holmes, Iceman Vamp, I got you too, the Goonie Goons. That's what got us both off, but it's all good. Lewis, yeah, I got this one as well. Yeah, so this is what kind of got us both off on this. So Pastor Johnson, yeah. Chocolate Thunder, what in the world? Hit the PayPal, my Cocoa Queens, a date with the doctor. Yeah, $500 a pop. Is there any women in here that would be willing to pay $500 to go on a date with Umar? Don't let us know. I know it's 2025. Any of you men, $500. All right. Thanks, Chocolate Thunder. Chocolate Thunder, that's crazy. Good Trend Formerly AK says, you don't know outside eye Umar's on. Yeah, I'm sure you do. I would love to get the Good Twin, Bad Twin on as interview guest. I mean, that would be fantastic. I think one of them would probably defend him and the other one wouldn't. That'd be great. Thank you again for super chat. Kiara says, hey, Jermaine, Tunde, I got your money. Yeah. Is there any real quick? Is there any? This chat room is crazy. Is there anyone in the Cookie Crush chat who donated to Umar? Hit the one. Okay, and I know it's hard because some people they don't want to admit that they did, but it's not a judgment thing at all. It's not a judgment thing. All right. There's a lot of people that's donated to Umar. I would say at this point, there's tens of thousands of people that have donated to Umar. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you think about it, we're talking about, again, there's people who said they donated to Umar back in 2008. I think I heard, if memory serves me correctly, was someone who said 2007. So if we go with 2007, we're talking, what, 17 years? And then it's not just people here in the United States of America, it's people all around the world that have contributed. There's people in the UK that's donated to Umar, going all the way back to 2014. There's people in Africa that's donated to Umar for many years now. All around the world, different places in Europe that's donated to Umar. So it's tens of thousands at this point. And there's people in here, yeah, they donated to Umar. You know, and there's people that says, I want my money back. See, that's the thing. Umar's the pay on his GoFundMe, he had collected over $400,000. That covers the school right there. Think about that. He had that GoFundMe up for about 2 years and I want to say 8 months. 2 years and 8 months. Yeah, I don't quote me on that. Let's say around 3 years. Let's say around 3 years. We give him the benefit of the doubt. And he raises over $400,000. Well, that covers the purchase of the abandoned building. So all of the other money that he's collected outside of GoFundMe, where did it go? So here's the thing is that a lot of the platforms that Umar used to collect money, he no longer has those platforms because he was either shut down for fraud or he stopped using them. GoFundMe shut him down for fraud. They were issuing refunds. Well, people could ask, well, why did he start another GoFundMe then? Well, because he wasn't in good standing, obviously. And at that time, that was the permanent way. The amount of money that he raised on GoFundMe, and quickly too, because he had the checks and the money orders going to his P.O. box for a much longer period of time. He still has that going on, but the GoFundMe was for a relatively shorter period of time, but he racked up $400,000, over $400,000. I have the receipts, I can show it to you guys. So the point that I'm getting at is that in and of itself covered the purchase price. Where'd all the rest of the money go? Even if we start in 2014, what about all the PayPal? What about the checks and the money orders? What about the cash given to him on hand? What about all of the cash apps? I would say the cash app was, because he had that cash app for much longer than he had the GoFundMe, that he raised far more money on the cash app than he did on the GoFundMe. See, conceivably, Umar's raised $3-4 million. I can see that, but I give him grace and I give him the benefit of the doubt. $3.7 million since 2014. But I know for a fact since 2019 through 2024, $1.67 million as a bare minimum. Okay. So anyway, I just want us to be clear about this, that there are a lot of people who would want their money back, but it's difficult because a lot of the platforms that he received the money and used to get the money, he's no longer using those platforms. GoFundMe, Cash App, Plum Fund, list goes on and on and on. Right? And he's had several PayPal, because there was one of his PayPal accounts got shut down a long time ago. Thanks, Carol, for super chat. Lewis X says, Umar is a straight cornball. Dude, you rocking a fitted cap, a dashiki, acid wash jeans, and some scuffed up fake J's straight from China. He's a spiced together African priest and 90s rapper. And that's Umar. He's an amalgamation. He does that. He puts all kinds of things together. I think he has different identities too that he works through and works with. And so you'll see a mixing and matching even in his attire. You hear it I can pull up a video, and you know this, Louis Tuck. I can pull up a video of Umar back when he used to wear 3-piece suits, and listen to how he spoke. He was far more articulate than he is now. You know, he's far more composed. He's not repeating shit over and over again and yelling and blinking and doing all this shit. He's not doing all that back then. But that is a character. That's one of the characters. That was the professional. And that was King. That was Dr. Umar Johnson. But then he has all these other characters, the thug archetype, which is King Kong conscious, where we see in the SETI rant where he's ranting like that. We see elements of that coming out when he goes in on Lene, when he goes in on his baby mama. It's the same thing. He has a little belt. Okay, that's the King Kong consciousness. He want to be a fake thug, but boy, the dude is so soft. He really is. So that's another character, King Kong. And then you got Big Papa. That's the Lothario, the one who's trying to get at the women and crush your cookies and, you know, pina colada, hot fudge, caramel latte, and all this other shit. Okay. So you have all these different, then you got the Prince of Pan African. That's the dashiki wearing, you know, talking about we doing this in Africa. He ain't doing shit. You know, I was with the UIA and Marcus Garvey, all this stuff, right? But then what you see, Louis, like you'll see Umar put sometimes you see all those different elements coming together. So he'll have on a dashiki and some acid wash jeans, a fitted cap, looking all goofy, and some Jordans on or some shit like that, and little bling bling dangling, something like that. So it's like putting all different pieces together. I told people a long time ago, one of Umar's issues is that he don't know who he is. He don't even know who he is at 51 years old. He's always morphing into different things to whatever it takes to get whatever he needs out of people, he'll morph. That's Umar. That's Sauron. Even Senator Palpatine, he was the same way. Because he'd be all cool as a senator, but then he'd be scheming behind the scene. Thanks, Louis. How's it going, Mixers? Monica says, hold up. So he was given acres of land in Ghana, and why has he hasn't spoken of the land in Africa lately? Yeah, here's the thing. If he received this land in Africa, wouldn't you think that by now he would have a school up over there somewhere? Would the conversion rate? And that ain't the only thing, because he said he had gotten land from another place in Africa too. He also said that someone had given him free land in Los Angeles area. I have that in the documentary. Okay, well, if that's and this was way before 2019. Well, if that's the case, because he was talking about that in 2013 when he was at the World Beach Center. Shout out to Makeda. When he was at the World Beach Center back in 2013. He was talking about how someone had given him land up near Los Angeles. Okay, well, if that's the case, why do you got to keep looking for buildings for like another 9 years, over 9 years, and you just keep collecting money? And then why don't you just go do something over there in Africa, then over in Ghana, if they gave you all this free land? Anyway, it shows two things. Number one, that Umar, if in fact what he's saying is true, that he's been given every opportunity to be successful, because if people are giving him free land, there's no excuse. You just take the money that you have, and if it's over in Africa, the conversion rate, you ain't got no excuses. But number two, it goes to show you that Umar was never serious about opening up a school, because he hasn't done with this alleged free land what he could have done many years ago to open up a school. What does he do instead? Well, he extends his scam indefinitely to do what? Not to open up a school, but to continue to get money out of people. There you have it. Yeah, I have the video. It's in the documentary, the second documentary I'm working on, where he talks about how he was given land. I can't remember what it was, because it was near where we used to stay back in the day. It's east of Los Angeles. Well, if that's the case, why are you going around the world for the next 9 years looking for? Anyway, thanks, Mr. Monica, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Created by the Divine says, Umar so broke, even his reality check bounced. What in the world? He's so broke, his reality check bounced. Okay. Yeah. The thing is that Umar, he's had financial struggles way before he comes on the scene in 2014. And let me explain this to people, because I have the documents. It's public record. Umar decides in and around 2010, 2011, and I have him, I can play the video where he talks about this, and he admits that he made a decision to give up his career as a school psychologist and then go full-time. I don't even know if he used that word, I'm paraphrasing, elevating the people. In other words, he's going to get into more into the black conscious space, and he wants to be a speaker to educate the people. Now, back then, his talking points had more to do with like ADHD. It had more to do with the school to prison pipeline. It had more to do with misdiagnosis of children and special education, right? That's what his main talking points were back then. These days, he talks more about sex than he does about children, but that was a different time period. The point is that when he gives up his career 2010, 2011, and he gets into the black conscious space, understand that while he was working as a school psychologist, he was receiving consistent income. Okay. Now, he did bounce around a bit. Okay, he did while he was a school psychologist. But once he gives that up, he no longer has a consistent income. And that's why when you guys look into Umar's history, you see that in 2010, he gets his first tenant complaint in the process of eviction from his landlord, where he had the apartment back in the day. Remember, he flipped the phone and showed that, but he was able to resolve that, and he was able to stay there, and he ended up staying there for another 9 years. But then that next time he gets that process starts, he was unable to resolve it. It wasn't a lot of money either. The first time wasn't a lot of money. The second time wasn't a lot of money either, and he ends up getting evicted, and that's when he moves into he starts living in and out of motel rooms. I will argue, and I would speculate that he also stayed inside the school when he could, the abandoned buildings in Wilmington when he could, and probably stayed in his car sometimes too. But then ultimately he moves in with his mama, and he's been there ever since. That was back in 2019 where he gets evicted. So he was having financial struggles once he gives up his career as a school psychologist going back to 2010, 2011. But those struggles continue all the way throughout 2019. And part of the reason why is because he wasn't working consistently. Instead, he gets on the black conscious space, and understand that when Umar comes into the black conscious space, one of the people who put him on, because it's not just one person, was Sa Netter. Umar was not established in the black conscious space. He wasn't established. He wasn't well known. In fact, Umar used to vend at certain events. Not only did he vend, he would sell like CDs, DVDs. He didn't have a book at that time. That's what he was doing. Just hustling, trying to make a way. So financially, it became very difficult for Umar. And see, what tends to happen with individuals like Umar who are in those types of positions, they're always trying to find what is the next hustle. Now, what ends up happening is that Umar gets onto this public access radio show in Chicago. This is one of the earmarked points in Umar's history. And he at that time, he's still presenting himself. I can pull up the video right now. And the brother that interviewed him, Brother Dawa, he passed away recently. Rest in peace to him. That kind of propelled Umar into further, I shouldn't say further fame, because he wasn't famous then, but it propelled Umar into the black conscious space, because people started to get, he was able to get a DVD copy of that. And he started selling that, and he started to get more inroads into the black conscious space. Well, guess who sees that video, that DVD? Tariq Nasheed. So Tariq Nasheed, at that time, he's working on Hidden Colors. So he onboards Umar on there. Umar wasn't well known in the Hidden Colors. And then Umar, because he's in Hidden Colors, he sees him with all these other well-known people who've been established inside the black conscious space for decades. Dr. Valentine, Sahara Zad Ali, I'm messing the name up, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Brother Khomeini, I messed his name up too, but he had a different name back then. I used to watch a lot of his video back in the day. I don't know if Taj Tariq Bey was in Hidden Colors, but that's another one who had inroads for a long time in the black conscious space. I studied all these guys a long time ago. I was deep into that stuff. But the point is that Umar, he finally gets an opportunity to be in the presence of people who had been in that in the black conscious space for decades, who were seen as elders and who had been were seen as highly respectable individuals. Now, what happens is Hidden Colors start to blow up, the first one, and people start seeing Umar and they say, who is this guy? Not that they knew who he was in the first place. And so Umar, he starts to build up a reputation, not from selling DVDs, not from being on the public access, not from selling CDs. No, he started building up a reputation based upon the Hidden Colors series. Then he's in Hidden Colors 2. In fact, Umar tried to manipulate the situation because he wanted Tariq Nasheed to give him free copies, DVD copies of Hidden Colors, so that he can go over to Europe, meaning Umar can go over to Europe and do presentations on Tariq Nasheed's intellectual property. And Umar, in advance of even asking Tariq Nasheed if he could do that, he already set up arrangements in the UK, and they had it all set up to where Umar was going to come in and present it as if that was his shit. Trifling, conniving. Well, guess what? Tariq wasn't happening, because Tariq, in the first place, he's a businessman. I don't follow Tariq. His information is not my cup of tea. Even Hidden Colors back in the day wasn't my cup of tea. I've never sat through one Hidden Colors, right? But in essence, he propelled Umar, and Umar wanted to take advantage of this stuff. In essence, Umar wanted to really what he's trying to do was try to make it seem like that was his work, and it's a form of plagiarism, but it's really he's trying to steal Tariq Nasheed's intellectual property. Well, guess what? He tried to do the same thing with Mary Ann Lawrence in 2023. With the Umar Johnson movie. He has a history of this type of behavior. So then Umar starts to blow up. 2013, 2014. And if you guys go and look at his social media presence in 2014, it still wasn't a lot, but it was much more than what it was in 2010, 2011. I've already done the research on this. Right. So the point is that Umar, as someone who has struggled financially, and we've all been there, I've been there too myself. Understand that the main reason why Umar fell on hard times that continue to this day, to where he's living inside the mama closet, is because he gave up his career as a school psychologist, where in point of fact, he spent overall about 20 years pursuing different degrees and certifications, and now he ain't got shit to show for it. And that's why he's so broke, he can't even cash a reality check these days. You know, it's sad. It's actually sad. Why would you spend upwards of 20 years pursuing degrees and certifications, as he says, 6 degrees, and you live in your mama closet? You up here begging people for money? It makes no sense whatsoever. See, and if he fell on hard times, I get it. I've been there myself. Get the help and get the stepping upward bound. But that's not what we see. We don't see Umar. He's not upward bound. All the money he's collected, can't nobody, including Umar Johnson followers, no disrespect, but not one of you Umar Johnson followers can tell me that Umar is in a better situation in 2025 than he was in 2010. The difference is that over these many years, he's collected well over $2.7 million for a school that does not exist. Explain that to me. So that's the thing. A lot of people don't know the history with Umar. If I asked him, well, what about the interview that he did with Brother Dawa in Chicago? And, you know, Umar took shots at Dawa too. I have that video. When I heard it, I said, I can't believe this guy's doing it. Because let me explain one last thing. We might not even get to the video today. I don't know. We can come back tomorrow. Let me explain one other thing dealing with this in terms of Umar's history. It's not one person that put Umar on. There are different people who put Umar on. One of those individuals is Sa Netter. Umar falls out with Sa Netter. Another individual was Brother Dawa. He had public access in show in Chicago. He fell out with Brother Dawa. Another person that put Umar on was Tariq Nasheed. He had a falling out with Tariq Nasheed. Who's the common denominator? Those are 3 people right there. And I can pull up receipts to back all this up, whether it's Sa Netter or it's the Chicago interview with Brother Dawa, West in Peace, or if it's Tariq Nasheed. Who's the common denominator? Umar's the common denominator. See, and just to bring it all back around, I would propose that one of the reasons why Umar, his financial situation, and we're not even talking about the student loan debt, and also the tax liens, massive tax liens that Umar holds to this day. I would propose that one of the reasons, the permanent reason, really, that Umar is in, it's not even the permanent reason, because he got other issues dealing with gambling and turning the heat down. But one of the permanent issues is the fact that Umar gave up his career because he wanted to be some sort of black conscious superhero. Superhero? I know somebody else saying that that's too extreme. Hold on. See this shit? Somebody make this make sense. This was from 2014. Remember the timeline? He gets up to his career in 2010, 2011. He flounders around in the black conscious space. Okay. At that time, he's not wearing dashikis and all that stuff. Again, people got to do the research. He's not. And then even after that, he's not wearing dashikis consistently. That comes later on when he starts to morph into this Black Pan-African concept type of idea. But Umar wants to be a superhero who's fighting. He's the arch nemesis of the Prince of Pan-Africanism. He's fighting against super white supremacy. This is y'all's principle. And thanks, created by the Divine for the super chat. This is y'all's principle. But that ain't all. Hold on one second. There you go. Prince Ifatunde battles for the mind, soul, identity, and survival of our Black kings and queens against the sinister and evil super white supremacy. Coming soon. See that? Now, some of y'all, when I said that, you was like, Lenon, you going too far. You going too far. No. No. I have all the receipts. Look. This guy even had T-shirts made. This is in 2014, April 22nd of 2014. Again, this is after Hidden Colors too, by the way. Hidden Colors 1, I think Hidden Colors 2 too by that time. Look. Homeland Security versus Dr. Papa. 60 days left. DrUmarJohnsonSchool.com. That's the closest thing that Umar had to an FDMG website. And back then, when you go on that website, it had a donation button. In fact, at a certain point, he had it where it was password protected. You couldn't even get into that shit unless he gave you the password. He's such a scammer. See, look, a lot, and I have screenshots of it too. Y'all would crack up if I showed it to you. But the point I want to make is that DrUmarJohnsonSchool.com is the closest thing that he ever had to an FDMG website, and it was pathetic. And he calls it the Dr. Umar School. Okay, it's just nuts. Anyway, there's more I can show you all. Let me just show you all one other thing from this time period. Well, there's so much more I can show you all. Let me just pick one more thing from this year, from this particular year. Here is the original FDMG logo right here. Some of you guys have seen this, but most people have not. Now, he's been at this for such a long time. Here you go. This is the original logo. And I remember when we first started reviewing this and kind of analyzing it, we couldn't figure out exactly what it was, but there were people who they could see it. I couldn't see it, but they explained how, initially I couldn't see it. In the middle section, there's a gorilla head. And then to its left, which would be where I'm looking at, it would be my right. There's Frederick Douglass with the beard. You can kind of make out his right eye, a little bit of his left eye and his nose, and then the beard towards the bottom. And then opposite on the other side is Marcus Garvey. You can kind of make out the lips. If you can see all this, hit the 1. If you can't, hit the 2. And it took a while. I have another mock-up of this where I actually outline the different features so you can tell, but I don't think I have it inside of this folder. I would actually have to go and find it because that was from years ago. But that's the original FDMG logo. By the way, here's another one right here. This is from 2014. It says, coming soon from the ghettos of Philadelphia, USA, the ancestors have raised up a titan. You see this? Narcissism, to do battle with the forces of evil and white supremacy in defense of the global African family. A school psychologist by day and a terror to the foes of Pan-African liberation by night. He is Ifatunde, the Prince of Pan-Africanism. I have to throw that in. I've wanted to do that for a long time. Coming soon from Prince of Pan-Africanism Publications. Okay, nothing ever came out of this. And then look at the engagement too, by the way. Even in 2014, 358 likes, which relatively speaking is not a lot. 29 comments, that's not a lot, and 84 shares. right? But the point is that this is in 2014. And remember, Umar gave up his career as a school psychologist when? In 2010, 2011. He wasn't even working as a school psychologist in 2014, even though he was telling people in 2014 that not only did he work as a school psychologist, but at the same time, he was working as a principal. You can't do both at the same time. Well, that's because obviously he was lying about both. And then for you queens out there, he was trying to get a superhero queen. And it was should my princess of Pan Africanism look like this? And this is her right here, 5'5", thick, obviously thicker than thighs, something going on that cooch. I don't know. I don't know what is. There's something going on right there. I don't know what it is. I don't want to speculate, but obviously this is Umar. Something going on. I don't know. All right. Anyway, let me just do one other thing too. Since we've been kind of getting off target all month, let me pull up. Let me go back to 2000. Let me see, 13. Here's a picture of him in Zaza Ali, and she used to scam too. I don't think she's doing it now, but she ran several scams. I talked about that. I did a series for members dealing with her back in the day. There was a time period where she was scamming Black women out of money for a sisterhood circle back in the day. Let me share this too, because a lot of people don't know about this particular scam. This goes back to 2013. Breaking news, Dr. Umar, August 7th of 2013, breaking news, Dr. Umar to begin production of the shockumentary, America's War Against Black Boys, to hit theaters nationwide on August 21st, 2014. Final call for testimonials for the shockumentary. Email 1 to 2 page summary of your story to drumarjohnson.com. This was in 2013. He was collecting money for this, and it still doesn't exist to this day. He was collecting money for this up until, I thought it was 2020, but I recently saw some receipts. It's actually, he was still asking for donations for this back in 2022. So this is something that was going on for about 9, almost 10 years of collecting money, and he never produced this shockumentary. In fact, the reason why I did my shockumentary, my first one on Umar Johnson that premiered March 14th of 2020 was because Umar didn't even do his, and I didn't collect a penny to do mine. I just did it, just like with the documentary I'm doing now. I just doing it on my own volition. I didn't ask for any financial assistance or anything like that. Well, Umar, he's raised plenty of money for this, but he never produced it. Well, he raised plenty of money for this FDMG school scam, but he never produced a school. Okay. He has other scams too. This is just another one of the scams that's kind of under the umbrella of FDMG. He's had plenty of them. Okay, that's 2013. Let me see if I have something I can show you from. Yeah, I got plenty to show you from 2014. So again, this is more of a history kind of thing dealing with Umar, and I've done all of the research. Look who's here. Psychology collaboration hits prime time. PCOM's clinical psychology students have been providing counseling services to patients at the college's 4 Philadelphia healthcare centers since 2002. The counseling plays a crucial role in helping patients cope with emotional issues and physical challenges. It also provides valuable training for PCOM psychology students. This important collaboration was featured on Philadelphia's NBC affiliate WCAU TV. To view the story, visit the college website at www.pcom.edu and click on PCOM in the spotlight. And then here we have Barbara Golden, PsyD, assistant professor and director, clinical services psychology, discusses a case with Julia Ravinsky, PsyD, and Umar Johnson, PsyD. And to be clear, this is from 2012. Umar got his PsyD in 2012, but he was misrepresenting himself as a doctor going on back to 2006 or 2007. Okay, I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was 2006. Let me show you another one here. Okay, Umar is in the back row. And this is from 2012 from PCOM. Let me give you a couple of more from the research archives. Here is, I don't even know what this is. Oh, this is another one of the shockumentary things. I brought this up a little while ago. Shockumentary alert. We are looking for Black males who were railroaded on the collegiate level and kept from finishing their degree. Because remember, Umar got kicked out of PCOM, and he strong-armed his way into getting the degree. I've talked about this in the past. But this is February 25th of 2012. Okay, this still does not exist today. Okay, this is over 13 years ago. And look at the engagement, 6. He didn't have a massive following back in 2012. It wasn't, and he did Hidden Colors in 2011, but he didn't really start picking up traction until 2014. But that's after people put him on, even though he tried to act like he put himself on. That's simply not true. And let me see, what is this one right here? Oh, this is the same picture right here, but Umar posted it, class of 2012, Doctors of Clinical Psychology. And then let me just do one more year here. I want to see how far back I go with the images and stuff. There's more I can show y'all from this time period. I showed this one too. I showed this one recently. Okay. All right, Umar. All righty. Whatever you say, homeboy. He used to do grave robbing back then too. Grave stalking. He would go to grave sites. He don't really do it as much as because we used to clown him on it, but he don't do it as much. But he used to do it a lot back then. And then let me go to 2011 because I want to see how far back I have here. 2011. I don't have any. Okay, nothing there. 2010. I just have video. No, there are some screenshots here. That's his eviction from 2012, December 15th of 2010. It was the complaint. He was able to resolve that one. I talked about that earlier. They had started the process, but he was able to resolve that. I do have some stuff from Capera Charter School in 2007. And I don't want to show this. I really don't want to show this. But let me take a chance. If you look down here, it says Capera boasts. I'm sorry, I got to get my glasses. Give me 1 second. Capera boasts of an independent parents organization that emerged from the Independent Parents Association. Where did we hear that from? See, Umar, he's a plagiarist. Okay, this is from Capera Charter School. This is from 2000. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. No, it shows it in here. This group of committed parents, with the encouragement of board of trustees, has conducted a number of ongoing fundraisers for the children of the school. Changes in administration has had posed challenges to the building a stable home and school association in the past. In school year, look at the school year, 2007 to 2008. Because remember, we were talking about that. When did Umar work for Capera Charter School? So I think I had gotten this close last year, but this was or yesterday, 2007. They're specifically talking about in the school year 2007 2008. A small cadre of dynamic parents founded the Capera Wazazi Wazuri. The Wazuri assisted with the number of events. They sponsored a book drive and provided book lists to parents of African American literature. I apologize. This is really, really small for me. There was a time I could read this easy, but my eyesight is nowhere near where it used to be. The Wazuri also hosted a number of community sessions inviting such renowned parenting specialists as Dr. Lucille Eljoy, and look what it says there, and Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson. Remember, this is for the school year, what, 2007 to 2008. Why are they referring to Umar as Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson? He didn't get his PsyD until 2012. Well, that's because, and that's one of the reasons why he got fired, because he was misrepresenting himself as a doctor at the Capera Charter School when he didn't have his doctorate yet. He's a con man. He lies so much, it's incredible to me. And it's so unnecessary. I used to talk about this because people can ask the question. People always want to ask you the question, well, why would he lie about that? Well, would you rather get paid doctorate level money, or would you rather get paid master's level money? You see? And it's always been about money with this guy. It's never been about helping Black people or anything like that. Everything is a scam to get money out of people. The Shockumentary, the FDMG school scam, St. Paul school scam, Wilmington school scam, Detroit school scam, which was one of the most ridiculous ones. A lot of people don't know about that one. It's always been about getting money out of people. Nothing more, nothing less. And then let me just check. That was receipts from 2007. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I start to get into Umar's childhood stuff. And the earliest video that I have of Umar in terms of video format was from 2005. All right. Let's see. We got a little more time. Why don't we do this? We're going to get to the main video. We're probably going to get maybe another 20 more minutes into it. And then tomorrow we'll come back and finish it for sure. I apologize, and we kind of got blown off today. But every once in a while, we have a show like this. We have over 2,050 people here, so obviously, at least some of y'all are enjoying. Okay, so it's all good. If you are enjoying the live stream, make sure you hit that like button because it helps to get the show into the algorithm. And the more people get to see it, the better. The numbers go up, the subscribers go up. I'm wondering if it's actually possible for me to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Okay, we'll see what happens. All right. So thank you everyone inside the Cookie Chat. Cookie Chat's undefeated. I appreciate y'all. Let me check out the poll. Is the city of Wilmington sabotaging Umar Johnson? There's 2,135 votes so far. 10% said yes and 9% said no. All right. Okay, and then the likes were way over 800 already. Okay, let's go for 1,000. Okay, we should be able to do that between now and the time we close out this show. All right, thank you all again. Everyone inside the Cookie Crush chat. I appreciate y'all. Also, mods, thank you for handling business. I appreciate it. And also thanks to everyone who sent in super chat. Let me do these super chats real quick, the remaining ones. Let's see. So I thank you again for the super chat. And also, Laura, I got yours earlier. That's a new one right there. Mistrix Monaco, until the mode is completely removed inside and out, no one should be in or around with a hazmat suit. Black mode will harm you for real. Yeah, you can die from that. In fact, when they do, because I've seen this, when they do mode remediation, they actually come in with hazmat suits and they have these respirators and everything. And they just don't go on the side of the wall where there's mold. They actually cut into the drywall to check to see if there's mold in the back. And they have a whole process that they go through, right? They treat it. And then it's about circulation. Well, not only do before they treat it, they go and they do the inspection, but they will bust out a wall. Just because you see it on the wall on the inside doesn't mean that on the opposite end of that drywall there isn't any mold. See, so what they'll do is they'll cut into the drywall and then they start to look. They do an inspection. They have on their hazmat suits while they're doing it because you can die from this stuff. And then they treat it. If there's any mold, back there, they'll treat it. And then there's a whole process. They run these fans to make sure that there's airflow in that area. And this can go on for 2-3 days. And depending on how severe it is, it can be longer than that. And in the case of these buildings, I showed you footage from the brother earlier, and shout out to him who went up there a couple of days ago and took video footage of the structure on the exterior. And he walked around everywhere. Look at this. And I want to make another point. It's not just what's happening on the outside. It's also the standing water on the roof and it's seeping into the interior. And who knows what's going on in there too. And I have seen in the past, I've seen it, that there is black mold growing inside of these buildings too. So, and it's nothing to be played with. So mold remediation for these buildings is going to be extensive and it's going to be extremely expensive. Umar's complaining about paying these bills. He has no clue. It's like someone said yesterday. I can't remember who it is, but they were right on, spot on with it. That's the price of doing business. You shouldn't have purchased these trap bandos. See, like I said, Umar could have just rented a facility $10,000 a month, and it's ready to go. He gets it furnished, and he can have people come in. It ain't got to be nothing big, but have people come in. It could be after school program called FDMG after school program, and have people come in and volunteer their time to teach whatever. $10,000 a month. But no, not Umar. He's wasted just on bills upwards to about $400,000 since 2019. It's actually more than that. Just on bills, different bills, including taxes. That was $170,000 right there. You add it all up, it's got to be close to $500,000 that he's wasted just on different bills and fees and what is that? Interest and all this stuff that he's wasted. It has to be close to $500,000. Well, he could have just taken that $500,000 and just got a building that's already ready to go. And lease the building and use that. Say this $500,000 is going to be the lease for the next 4 years. But no, he wants to deal with these shits with the mold infestation. Who knows whatever else is going on. Thanks, Mr. Monica. It's not to be played with. Thanks, Eddie, for the super chat, our super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bob says we growing black mushrooms, family. yeah, he definitely doing that. You know what I'm saying? He got the mold, he got the mushrooms, and all that other stuff. Thanks, Bob. Louis X says, that's the hood. The cops won't patrol that area. They probably gave Umar a firearm, radio, and baton and told him to good luck. And it said, make sure you call us when you don't need us. Yeah, it is. It's hood up there. That's another issue that Umar should have considered prior to purchasing these trap bundles. His head's on a swivel while he's out there. The other thing is that the year before Umar purchased these trap bundles, Wilmington was ranked 6th or 7th in the nation for violent crime per capita. Why would you purchase a so-called school, these abandoned buildings, in that type of a neighborhood? Why would you do that? You know what they used to call? I don't know if they still have the moniker, but they used to call Wilmington, Delaware, murder capital USA. Yeah, son, where you going to school? Murder capital USA. Any of y'all want to send your kids to murder capital USA? Was it No, Murder Town. I apologize. Murder Town USA. That's what it was. Which is worse. Let me see. Let me make sure I find out what it is. Wilmington, Delaware. And someone sent me they sent me a super, what is this? A Cash App too. Thank you so much, VB. I appreciate it. Also, someone said Umar just went live. Oh shit. We're gonna have to come back tomorrow. Here we go. Wilmington, Delaware, murder. I think it's Murder Town. Yeah, Murder Town, USA. That's what it was called. Murder Town, USA is a phrase and the title of a book by Yasser Arafat Payne that refers to the city of Wilmington, Delaware, due to its reputation for high rates of violent crime. Again, ranked 6th or 7th in the nation per capita, particularly homicides and associated issues like poverty and incarceration. The term gained prominence after a 2014 Newsweek article used it to describe the city following a surge in shootings and killings. The book Murder Town USA further explores these issues, reframing violence not as a moral failing, but as a logical response to the structural inequalities present in Wilmington's Black community. And that's where Umar decided to purchase these trap bundles. Let me head over to, I wonder if he's out in front of the bandos. Let's see. Yep, he out there in front of them trap bandos right now, or not too long ago, 1 hour ago. He got to get to begging. He got to get to begging. See, slowly but surely, he's going to come out of his shell. He's been taking the heat, so he's been incognito. But when Umar posted in response to the live stream that we did, he posted because he was watching the live stream. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. That's how I knew, okay, if he's willing to do that post, and he's going to be back up there begging real soon. And here he is. Let me download this shit right now. looks like we got plenty. I thought I was going to get a break this month, family. And I really do need it, but hey, you know. FDMG. I know he's up here begging. I don't even got to watch the video. I already know he's begging up there. Let me see how long this. Oh, it's a short video though. Y'all want to watch it now? Hit the one if y'all want to watch it now, because I just downloaded it. And he may not even be saying nothing. Someone on here say, when is the school gonna open? When is the school gonna open? When is the school gonna open? Has Unc finally lost it? Where can I send this $9,000 donation? and the screen name says, "In please." If you got a ninja, please. Trying to send 10,000 tonight. Where to? I need a donation tax receipt as well. Thank you. Boy, they roasted the shit out of him. This school has been fundraising for over 10 years. There's been enough money a long time ago. Cut the act and go to work like the rest of the world. No sympathy here. Been hearing the same rhetoric for too many years. And I've been present in many of his speaking engagements, and it's starting to feel like desperation. Damn. Can't wait for the live. I'm watching Lenon's live. Oh man, I feel bad. I feel bad for Umar right now. So I'm not a Pan African, but I definitely want to see the doc win. Someone said, "You still great in my book." Someone said, "Only needs a cardboard sign. You standing in the white line." Delay does not mean denied. All right, whatever. Okay, y'all want to watch it real quick because this is probably about a couple of seconds. Thank you, Louis Luck, for the super chat. We didn't get nothing done today. We had a good time, though, that's for sure. Let's go ahead. Let me pull this up right quick. I don't even think he said anything. I think he just gets up there and he's looking all, well, I'll let y'all see. Poor Umar. I mean, I shouldn't feel bad for him, but it is sad for him to be 51 years old and he has to get up here, and here we go. This is hot off of the press. Yeah, he need money to get that plug. Yeah, it's about 10 o'clock when he did this, 10 o'clock Eastern time. He ain't doing no renovations. He's just trying to get money. He wants people to send him some money. And he's not saying anything because he wants to see people's response because he knows people are going in on him. Narcissist. Looking all bad. Damn, look at him. Yeah, he having a real rough time right now. I feel bad for him. I do. I feel bad for this guy. Yeah, that rental. He ain't got shit else to do. This is sad, y'all. Damn, Umar. He ain't gonna say nothing. Yeah, he is. He is. He's homeless. You guys don't make fun. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, this is not that time to be making fun of Umar because it's sad. Someone said, "Ladies, rate Umar Johnson out of 10." Let's not because it's sad for him to be in this position at 51. He just had his birthday. Pantomime Umar. What in the pantomime? What in the world? Umar, he might as well get him some white gloves and just let me stop. What's up, Brian? No, I shouldn't laugh. Let me stop. Let me get this over. I apologize. Thanks for super chat. I shouldn't laugh right now, but thank you, Brian. I'm not gonna laugh. Let's not joke on this because it's sad. It really is. It's funny though, but he don't even say nothing. Let me get this on. That's it. Yeah, it's about almost 2 minutes long. I'll play it one more time. Yeah, they're going in on him on his Instagram. It's sad. He ain't got nothing to do. Just walking up here 10. Lori said, read more comments. Let me just read a couple more, man. It's really, really sad. I feel bad for the guy. So someone that said Unc finally lost it. Someone said he do this all the time. He's good. Someone said something definitely seems wrong. So said, where can I send this $9,000 donation? And people start laughing. When the school gonna open? When the school gonna says shut your somebody got mad. Shut your mouth up. You donated. We know you didn't. So that what's businesses of yours? They always say that when it's Umar Johnson's father. They say you didn't donate. You care nothing about the school. Asking it's just talking. Okay, I don't even know what they're talking about. Let me see. It's funny. Someone said can't watch the live. I'm watching. Someone he said can't watch the live. They're saying about Umar's live. They can't watch his live because they're watching Lenon's live at the moment. Well, that's wow. Let me see. Who else ran straight to the comments? they got a picture of P. Diddy looking. They're not saying nothing. You guys is crazy. Let me see some other ones. He said someone said he only needs a cardboard sign. And let me let this play again while I read these. Some of them give him some hearts and encouragement. We support you. Peace of Pan Africanism. I heard keys. Go birds. Stay strong, brother. Ifatunde. Silence speaks volumes. Silence speaks volumes. Silence speaks volumes. It said 3 times. And then someone said he's still trying to check the temperature and see what y'all on. That's true. That's part of what he's doing here because he's reading the comments because he wants to see what type of response he gets. Because a lot of people are fed up with him right now. Someone help him. His vision is there. He just needs a team. Someone said my son will go to your school. Well, I'm sorry, lady. It ain't going to happen. Let me see. Someone said, I say we got electricity. I said we got electricity. Someone said scam artists. Someone said, I pity the fool. Y'all don't do him like that. What you need help with, G? We still got the school or what? At ease, my king. Let's see. Donations. Nah. Someone said, lay with flour, lose your power. Someone said, go inside. He always outside. Yeah, people are just posting memes too of people looking and staring. They ain't even saying nothing. Someone said, a mess. Black queens forever, snow bunnies never. Brain freeze, talk heavy. I think we know what the school looks like. I thought they bought the school. Can we see the inside? Hire me as a teacher for the school, Dr. Umar. You better leave before the cop show. You better leave before the cop show with the Black Power, Doc. Okay. Someone said, why you mean mugging us, Doc? Why he mean mugging us? What happened? Someone said this is a cry for help. Yeah, that's why I'm trying not to laugh. Yeah, they clowning him in here. They're putting little emojis in here. Please don't repeat the same thing 3 times. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's not funny. But the thing is that he's just trying to gauge his audience. At some point, he has to come back to beg for money because he doesn't have any other income. So it's inevitable. There's no way he's going to be able to get around that. Okay, let me just finish up with these super chats. We'll come back tomorrow and finish up with the other video for sure. We got blown off today, but it was fun. Hope you guys had a good time. And if you did and you haven't hit that like button, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you get your poll question vote in. The poll question, we had over 2,290 votes so far. Is the city of Wilmington sabotaging Umar Johnson? 90% said no, 10% said yes. I'm actually surprised by that because it's clear to me that all the narrative that Umar is painting about the city, that it's false. I don't believe it at all. We're at 967 likes. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 before I close this out. And I'll close out this the poll in about 2 minutes. Let me get back with these super chats, and I'm gonna try to get to these real quick here. Let's see. I got that one. Thanks again. Nadia says state of the art sounds like used car salesman. Yeah, a lot of what Umar was doing in 2019 was trying to sell it as being something that it was not. He would say things like it was state of the art, that it was renovated at $16 million, but he's talking about the renovation that took place when it was, I think it was $16 million. Could have been less than that, a little less than that. But he was talking about renovation that it didn't have nothing to do with FDMG when he purchased it. It had to do with when they converted it over from chemical plants, okay, because it was a chemical manufacturing facility, and they would produce munitions for the Army and Navy, you know, like weapon munitions, you know, bombs and bullets and all that kind of thing. They renovated those back in the day to turn them into school buildings, and that's where the Moyer Academy started. And then the Moyer Academy went out of business and then lost its charter, and then it came back as the new J. Moyer Academy, and then it went out of business again, lost its charter, and then the building sat for roughly 4 years, and then Umar acquires them in 2019. So when a lot of what Umar was doing, he was trying to, as a salesman, trying to sell it to people as if it was a great buy. But look at where we're at now in 2025. Obviously, it wasn't a good deal. And Umar, he squandered the money. It was a waste of money because there's a whole lot of other things that he could have done where he was actually at this point he could have been doing all types of stuff to educate children that could have been done a long time ago. But he made a decision to purchase these trap banners to keep the scam going on. And here we are in 2025, and not one black boy has been educated. Thanks, Nadia, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Created by the Divine says, one of the best things about being broke is no one will steal your identity. Okay. Speaking of identity, I want people to understand something with Umar. That if you sent him a resume, I'm talking about from a cybersecurity perspective, and I have a degree in cybersecurity computer technology. It's a bachelor's degree of science, but I've studied this. That if you sent Umar a resume and it included any of your personal identifiable information, if it included your address and your phone number, if it included your place of business or your work phone number or work information, like on the resume, if you included that information, you need to look into that. And there are services that you can sign up for on the internet where they'll track to make sure your identity is secured and no one's using your identity through identity theft for financial gain or what have you. You need to look into that because someone like Umar, he's a long-time con man, at least going back to 2004. So we're talking at least 20 years. And who's to say that he hasn't used your personal information to his advantage? Something for people to think about. All right. Thank you, Created by the Divine. And I highly doubt anyone would ever want to steal Umar's identity because not only is he broke, but he has massive tax liens that's still ongoing to this day. We're not even talking about student loan debt. You pursue degrees and certifications for 20 years, and he admits that he had to take out student loans. How much y'all think his student loan debt is? And then with interest, because obviously if he ain't paying basic bills like water, why would y'all think that he's paying his own student loan? And we're not even talking about child support. All right. Thank you for the super chat. D's Nut says, somebody shit on my step. Was it you? It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Was it you? Somebody shizzle on my steps. Was it you? Somebody in on my steps. Was it you? Probably, yeah. One of the old classics. Thanks, these nuts. Enterprise says the Dayton's line was that was from like 2 hours ago. Yeah, I got a little off. I apologize. It's just, sometimes I get a little blown off. Thank you, Enterprise. Good trend from the a.k.a. says Shango personality tune day hashtag cookies hashtag Punani. Oh my! Thank you for the super chat. I gotta do this quick. RPG TV says he seems to want it. He want. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's no Diddy. We're gonna leave that right there. Oh boy, Umar. As Lene put that work on him now, I'm playing because that happened before. I'm just being silly. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Good Twin says, thanks for reminding us he wants your cook. Boy, that's not funny. Let's keep going. Oh, y'all too much. SJ says this wouldn't pass request for pre. This wouldn't pass request for pre-inspection. It said just a request for them to come and inspect the pre-inspection. I said no, we can't. Just based upon what we see, the pre-inspection, we can't even. Yeah. In my opinion, Umar never had a professional come out to inspect these buildings before, prior to him purchasing them, because there's no way. See, part of what happens when people, if they come to inspect, they're going to tell you everything that needs to be done. They're going to tell you all of the problems, you know, the pros and the cons, and they may even advise you as to whether or not it's a good purchase. But I would think that if he had a professional out there, they would have told him, this is not the building that you want to get. And here we are, 6.5 years later, 225, and clearly these trap vandals are in disrepair 6.5 years later. That's crazy because Umar has been renovating, right? So how are they still in disrepair in 2025 when renovations started in 2020? Well, that's part of the issue is Umar ain't been doing nothing really. But the other issue is that these buildings are in such a dilapidated state, and no professional would come and do an inspection on behalf of a potential buyer and tell them, hey, listen, this is a good purchase and everything's on the up and up. They wouldn't have done that. It would compromise your own integrity. You can lose your license. You're telling people, you're lying to people. So I'm sure that they probably told them, hey, and see, I don't think Umar ever had an inspection, a professional inspection that includes everything. And I guarantee you that if he did, they would have advised him on all of the it's a pit, it's a money pit. That's what it is. Thank you, SJ. Corruption says all 50 goons want in your. Oh, no. That's enough. You guys, come on now. Come on. Thank you for the super chat. Sweet Tea says 1, 2, the goons is coming for you. 3, 4, you better lock your door. Yeah. That's how I know Umar ain't from the streets, because you don't talk like that in the first place. He ain't got no goons. See, he called for the murder of him, right? Y'all remember that? But then all of a sudden, when he want to be big and bad, try to intimidate people, including me, all of a sudden he got goony goons. But what 4 years prior to that, Umar was talking about how we need to 10% of them are going to sleep for good. No, it wasn't 5 years. It was more than 5 years before that. Anyway, he ain't got no goony goons. He's goofy. Thank you, Sweetie, for being a member. Regina says, I love your contestant, Lenon. I think you're saying your content. Okay. I'm contestant. What do you mean? So you're informative and hilarious. Love it. Thank you. I try to not only provide information, but also I want to make sure that people have a good time too. And let's be clear about this. When I first started doing Umar videos, that wasn't there. It was very serious. It was like kind of slow and boring. But the cookie crush at a certain point when I started doing Umar videos later on, and YouTube, they started to have live streaming in chat rooms and this function, the chat room function, and also people were able to send in super chats a little bit later on. Everything took on a different dimension, because what would happen is that the Cookie Crush chat would basically run the show. Even kind of today, that's kind of like what happened, because people would bring something up, and then I would bring up a video, and then someone would ask about that, and then I'll bring up a video associated with that, and we're kind of going that circle. And I don't mind doing that, because I had an agenda for today. But ultimately, what really runs this show is the Cookie Crush chat. That's why I always give props to the Cookie Crush chat. And then the part about the levels of hilarity, if you will, if I can use that term, and the comedy, that really, it's an outgrowth of the Cookie Crush chat, because we at first we weren't goofing off way back in the day, but at a certain point we start goofing off, and it started getting real fun and hilarious, and then people start looking forward to it, and I started doing skits, and I mean it got real fun, and so, but that came out of the Cookie Crush chat. It's still in there to this day, because sometimes people say stuff and it's absolutely hilarious. What I try to do, Regina, these days is I try to stay out of the Cookie Crush chat. I try to not look in there. I learned my lesson a long time ago, because it's easy to get caught up in it. You start goofing off. And then what I do is when I have time, I'll play back, and I'll just follow the chat room. And that's another level of enjoyment for me outside of doing the actual live stream. So thank you so much for the kind words and for the super chat as well. I appreciate it. Y'all the best. I appreciate y'all. We still got 1,900 people in the building. We'll come back and finish up the video that I want to get to today. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay. And we'll get right on into it. And I literally mean we'll get right into it. We'll finish that tomorrow. What's up, Master Khalik says, I got this Birdman Jr. in this. Yeah, Umar's goofy. There's a part of Umar that wants to be a pastor. There's a part of Umar that wants to be a politician. There's a part of Umar that wants to be a teacher. There's a part of Umar that wants to be a rapper. That's why I say Umar doesn't have a real identity. He's all over the place. There's a part of Umar that wants to be a social media influencer. And I think out of everything, that's probably what he is the most. He's not an educator because he's never taught. He never was a teacher anywhere. He's not a black conscious leader because who is he leading? When are they getting together? Where are the meetings taking place? Where are the minutes? Who's the secretary? Who's taking minutes? You see what I'm saying? What's the phone number that you need to call for this organization? He doesn't have any of that in place because that's all a figment of the imagination. See, what Umar really is, and he comes down to, is he's a social media influencer. He's a goofy one. But he also has this dream of being all these other things, including he wants to be a rapper. He talks a lot of shit about rappers too, but he wants to be one. Thanks, Master Khalik, for the super chat. Rocky Dasaki says, I think he knew about the EPA report from the beginning and planned to use that in the end of why the school never opened to play victim. It's possible that he does that later on down the line. But again, I don't see this going past another 2 years. This could be over in a year. I have a contingency plan too already in terms of content here on YouTube. I've already planned that out a couple of years ago. I just, so it is what it is. But the point is that he could use that at a certain point. But the other thing, Rocky Dasaki, is then he would, if he knew about it, he would also have to admit to, and he wouldn't, but it would become clear for critical thinkers that he purchased these abandoned buildings knowing that they were classified as brownfield catalyst sites by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Who does that? See, it showed that he didn't purchase this in good faith. That, in other words, you got to be a steward of other people's money. The same thing with Jay Morrison. Remember we talked about Jay Morrison earlier today? He wasn't a good steward of the people's money. There's videos back in the day where he would be blinging and flashing racks and shit and counting money inside of these expensive cars. He wasn't a good steward of the money. So if Umar knew about the EPA report, and he could have known about it, he could have been at least told about it, because he purchased the EPA report says that there's a new ownership. That would be Umar. The point is that if he knew about it and he purchased these trap banners, well, then that really calls into question different things, including Umar's business acumen. Why would you purchase these abandoned buildings that are toxic? You know what's crazy too, real talk? The buildings, they look toxic. You understand what I'm saying? For instance, if any of y'all, if you happen to be walking, wherever you live, let's say you happen to be walking down the street and you saw some shit like this, would you say that this is clean or that it's toxic, that it's dirty and toxic? What would you say? Let's be real about it real quick. Look, I would not even go up over here. So if the EPA back in 2019 said that these trap banners were toxic, what do you think they're at now in 2025, 6.5 years later? Well, let's look. I would not even go near this shit. Real talk. I wouldn't even go near it. See the steps? That's cement. That's not supposed to look like that. That's dirt and grime and filth and mold. Look at that. All down the wall, all down the side of the steps. Come on now, people. So the point that I'm making is that, he's going to play victim one way or the other. But if he uses the EPA thing, that's going to prove what I've been telling people anyway, that he had no intention of opening up a school. It was just a way to extend the scam even further. Look at these shits. I wouldn't even walk close to this. There's no way. It's crazy. How do you take millions of dollars from black people and this is what you come up with? See that right there? That's the bracing for the pipes that are supposed to come down. To have the water go down into the pipes that go down into the earth, as Umar says, right? those pipes, they're not even connected. They don't even exist. And they didn't exist when he purchased them, but you would think that after 6.5 years, he would have had this shit fixed. See that? So a lot of that water is backing up onto the roof, and then it drips over the side, and that's why you see the mold that starts to appear and go down the side of the building. See, and shout out to this book. We're gonna get to. We probably won't even be able to get to this tomorrow, but we're gonna get to it at some point. Shout out to this brother right here, Famer Tube. He's the brother that went up there and took this video. Very important in my opinion. And he's from New York, so he went through it to get down here to make this happen. Shout out to him. And again, this actually looks worse. See that little pipe right there? It's supposed to go down there. This actually looks worse in 2025 than it did in 2014. One other thing I want to show you all too, if you guys look across the street where he pans over, because Umar, he got some fencing erected. This is to get in compliance with the license and inspection. But I told Umar back in the day that he should have did this in February 2019. It should have been the first thing that he did, but he didn't do that. But if you look across the street and you see that arrow, black arrow, there's a pole and a signage right there, and it points. There's an arrow that points towards that fence. If you look on the other side of the fence, you'll see a black trash bag. What people are doing now that there's fencing, more fencing, is they're just going by and they're throwing their trash bags over onto the other side of the fence. Y'all see that? And like I showed you guys when Umar did the tour from 2019, you saw the same thing happening even without the fencing. All right. Thank you, Rocky Dasaki. We got so much to get caught up on, too, by the way. A lady says, David said nothing to him complaining about. Yeah, that's real talk. The thing is that Father David, he's older. In my mind, I would think, y'all give me 5 more minutes. I would think that he would probably sit back and say, why is Umar complaining about paying bills? You a grown-ass man. Why are you complaining? And the other thing, if you guys listen to Umar, he sounds like a little child throwing a tantrum. That's not how you handle business. You're 51 years old. You just don't do all this complaining and whining. Again, there's so much money that Umar has wasted. Taxes, $160,000, $170,000, simply because he didn't have his paperwork in order. Well, that's $160,000, $170,000 that could have gone directly towards paying these bills from the start. Whose fault is that? And remember, a lady, I don't know if you remember this, but Umar was blaming that on the white lawyer, that they didn't tell him that he had to, pay these taxes and blah. Well, if you didn't have tax exempt status, what was you thinking? Y'all, anybody remember that? So even that situation, he tries to blame on somebody else. That's wasted money. The block parties, I don't know how much he spent on those block parties, but 30,000 maybe. Let's just give him a serious benefit of the doubt. $20,000 for each one. Okay, well that's $40,000. Well, you could have paid these shits so that you should have been paying these bills. You see what I'm saying? So why complain about bills to Father David, who's elderly? You know what I'm saying? What you should have done, Umar, is handle business from the first. And see, I gotta say this. We almost done. Y'all give me 4 more minutes. I gotta say this. I've been telling Umar what to do from the beginning. Hit the 1. Over and over again, not just one time. I've told Umar what to do, what he needed to do over and over again with all these live streams, trying to get him on the right track, trying to set him straight. Hit the 1. Shit. I told Umar back in 2019, the first thing you need to do is secure these buildings, put up a fence. He didn't do the shit. Then he complains about the vandalism. He's doing it now to be in compliance with LenonHonor. To see that when he went into that payment agreement, even though he said that he paid it all, when he went to that payment, part of that agreement is you got to come into compliance. That's what it is. So he's trying to get these. He got to make sure he get these fits. But I told him to do that back in 2019. I told Umar to stop traveling all over the place and just live stream every single day at these trap banners doing something. Even if you ain't doing nothing, do it. Act like you're doing something. Get up there. Go on over to Home Depot. Well, you need to go over there and get a job. Because I remember I had. Well, anyway. Go over there and go get a tool belt, Umar. Extra large. Go get a tool belt and then go buy a hammer and get some screwdrivers, flathead and Phillips, get some electric ones too, the power ones. Put that on there. Get a tape measure thing. Put that on the other side. Get your little thing to put the trizzers and shit in the top of that little pocket right there. You know what I'm talking about. Any of you men ever have put the trizzers in that shit. And then get your lazy ass up there every single day and act like you're doing something. This is what I told Umar to do. And live stream that shit. And then you do that and the money gonna come, just show progress over the last 6 and 11, 50 fucking years. Just do it, and in the grass. I told, because I don't like that. In the grass, keep the grass cut. It's not like you got to do it year round, because once that snow hit, and even prior to the snow hit, you guys know what happens to the grass out there on the East Coast or anywhere where it snows. It goes dormant, it turns brown, so you don't have to cut it no more. You ain't got to do that. But what you do is you get them things. I can't remember I don't have to do that kind of work anymore. I'm too old anyway. But the thing to cut the branches down. But you got to get a lawnmower, because it's a lot of work. What you do, I told Umar a long time ago, hit the one, to get you one of them sit-in tractor mower, lawnmower things, and paint that shit red, black, and green. And once a week, that's all, just once a week. Live stream you cutting that grass. Because his father's, this motherfucker, he can get up there and dig in his nose and put it on the door and ask for a cash app, and they gonna send him money. Look, he working. If they're gonna send you money for sniffing and blinking and digging in your nose, how much money you think they're gonna send you if you got your big ass up inside one of them things and start rolling around? Put some music on too, shit. And just sit back like we used to do, just paint it red, black, and green. That money would have been coming in crazy. But see, I told Umar, but he don't listen. I said, stop traveling. Stop all this foolishness, crushing cookies and chasing the cookies all over the place. But no, not Umar. So listen, my point is, Umar should not be complaining about anything, because not only has he received more than enough money to be successful in life, let alone the school shit, but I've been telling his ass what to do. I've been trying to give him an alley-oop from the beginning. I know I clown him and we clown him. Sometimes I feel bad about it, but shit, at this point, ain't no helping it. But if y'all listen carefully, I've been trying to give Umar some game on what he needs to do to get his life turned around. In fact, I've used my own life as an example of getting things turned around. So he has no fucking excuse. If I can do it with 5 kids and a wife, Umar, you should be able to do it while you're collecting $1.6 fucking million, living inside your mama closet in Section 8 housing. You ain't got no excuse, rental car ass. So give me some credit and put some respect on. See, and Umar should wear off on you. See, that's it. You got see, you guys got to be careful with this Umar shit, because you start talking like Umar, you start sniffing and blinking and shit, rubbing on your nose. All right. Anyway, I've been trying to tell him, he don't listen. Okay, this show been wild. Thank you, lady. Okay, y'all give me 3 minutes. Master Khalik said, people continue to support Umar because they refuse to admit that they've been had cognitive dissonance. That's a huge component of this. The cognitive dissonance, everything is right there in plain sight. Again, there's nothing wrong with supporting someone, sending them money. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But it has to be the right person. Ideally, what you want to have is, if a person is going to support someone, they have to recognize what's the difference between me supporting them and enabling them. There is a difference. See, furthermore, to your point, that if you've been, as we should say, you've been conned, you've been scammed, the cognitive dissonance says, no, everything's okay. Let me keep supporting him. There's the haters, the Cookie Crush chat, LenonHonor a hater, Pastor B, all this other stuff, right? That's the cognitive dissonance, because everything's right there in plain sight. But cognitively speaking, if you dealt with it without the emotion, and if the brainwashing and mind control wasn't there, because that's an aspect of the code, but if you ask the critical questions, proper intellectual process, you will see very clearly what this is. What you have is a 51-year-old con man who's been scamming the Black community for over 2 decades, and not just with the FDMG school scam. There's other scams that he's been running. And once you deal with that, then you can admit that you've been hoodwinked and bamboozled, and you've been conned. And guess what? That's fucking freedom. See, all this black power talk that Umar be talking, and a lot of you follow Umar. Now, I'm not disparaging you, but hear me on this. That Umar Johnson follows, you rah-rah that shit. You don't realize that he's enslaved your ass. You're a slave to Umar. That's why you defend him, and the cognitive dissonance is there. But all of his talk, he tried to talk his black power. Ain't got nothing to do with empowering you as a black person. It's about disempowering you and putting you into a subservient position like a slave, so that he can continue to exploit you for financial gain and for sexual exploitation. That's fucking slavery. We've already been through that as a people. Let me rephrase that. Our ancestors have already been through that as a people. Real talk. See, when you realize the truth and you realize, Master Khalid, that you've been had, then you do something different. That's when you embrace your freedom. That's when you have power to actualize a different reality. Now, real quick, people, you can do whatever you want to. Umar Johnson, you do whatever you want to. Don't make me no fucking difference at the end of the day. It's your life. It's your money. It's your energy. It's your time. And yeah, it's your cooch. You do whatever you want to with them things. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I would like for you to do the best thing that's in your best interest, but understand that as a slave, you're not in a position to even think about what's in your best interest. And that's where the cognitive dissonance comes in. But when you deal with this up here in the first place and you see this shit for what it is, and that you've been conned and hoodwinked and bamboozled, and yeah, you've been had, then you deal with the reality. And that's when you release the shackles of slavery and you have freedom to actualize the reality that you want. And I guarantee you right now that when you were born, there's nothing in your life that told you that the reality that you want is to be defending and supporting, and guess what, enabling someone like Umar Johnson, who ain't doing nothing but enslaving you to such a degree to where, and you would defend him even when he takes a shit on the steps of FDMG. Y'all are defending for that. That's cognitive dissonance. See, it's amazing. Last point on this. All this black power talk, but what we see with Umar is black disempowerment, and he's enslaved his own followers to see him in a way like Sauron did. It's not even accurate representation of reality. Meanwhile, he fucking you all. See, there we go. I was gonna drop that lyric from that Ice Cube because I was talking about the Daytons earlier, but I had to stop myself. I'm gone too far. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. All right. Thanks, Master Khalid. James Dean says Umar is live right now. yeah, we watched it. He didn't even say nothing. Okay, thank you for sending that to me. I saw it in my email. I appreciate you, bro. Shout out to James. User225 says, I wonder if he picked Wilmington because it's a disprivileged area with fewer resources to check him. Try it in New York, San Francisco, or I think you're saying South Dakota, maybe San Diego. You know, they eat him alive. I will say this, that Umar's acquiring these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware, it was an act of desperation on his part. I don't think that Umar thought in terms of it's a impoverished community or anything. I don't think he even thought about that. I think he wanted to get whatever he can get. And the main reason why, well, there's two. One is to extend the scam, and that's precisely what happened. I would propose that 2019 was the year where he received more money in 1 year than he had in all of the previous years, because he had something to show, and then people got excited and they were sending him crazy amounts of money. That's why by 2020, Umar's all smoked out and shit. He was already dabbling and dipping. Don't get it twisted. We all know that. But 2020, you also see how Umar was, but that's because so much money was coming in, and a lot of that. So user 225. Why did he settle on these? Well, this is all he can get under the circumstances because he didn't have much money, even though he should have been sitting on millions of dollars by that point. Remember, by the end of 2016, he said he had $1 million. He said by the summer of 2011, no, excuse me, by the summer of 2016, he said he was going to be at $1 million. So let's say that Umar was at $1 million by 2017. So we got 2017, 18, and then a couple of months in 2019 to continue to collect money. So it's at least $1 million plus 2 years in 2 months roughly of collecting more money. So I would say that Umar was probably going into 2019, he was probably in and around $1.2 million, maybe. So Umar purchased these abandoned buildings for only $400,000, and then he collects another $1.6 million. Okay, so if you add this shit up, we're really talking about from 2014 until through 2024, over the course of 10 years, we're talking to close to close to $3 million. I go with 2.6, 2.7 because I give Umar the benefit of the doubt, but it's close to $3 million. The point is that Umar could have gotten something else someplace else. It didn't necessarily have to be a school, but he could have done that. But the issue that Umar was facing was GoFundMe. See, GoFundMe, because people started complaining that he had raised over $400,000. That's a purchase price for these FDMG buildings. Remember, when he purchased these trap bundles, he didn't have any money left. So in essence, that GoFundMe, that really was it. Even though he was collecting money on all these other, checks and money orders, cash, then also to his P.O. box, then speaking engagements, people give him checks, money orders, and cash, all crazy money. Okay, again, this guy could have raised $5 million by now. Okay, the point is that he had to do something. Why? Because GoFundMe started to issue refunds. People were complaining. They started issuing refunds. That's why he settled on these shits, because he didn't have anywhere else to go. He only had what he had. I have a video, y'all, where Umar says we gave them what we had left. What? Well, if the purchase price is $400,000, Umar said a little more than that. Let's say $425,000. That would mean that all you had left out of all of those years leading up to 2019, all you had left was $425,000. Even though in 2016 you said you had $1 million. Now you see. I remember I heard that video. I said, did he just say that? I haven't. He said we gave him everything, all we had left. Okay, well, all you had left was $420. Where the rest of the money go? Because GoFundMe was over $400,000 right there. And you only had that GoFundMe, for about almost 3 years. I think it's 2 years and 10 months or 8 months, somewhere around there. Where the rest of the money go? He's a con man. So I don't think it had anything to do with the underprivileged or anything like that. I think it was just Umar. He had to get something. He had run through all the money, all the other money, and all he had left was in and around $425,000. And so because GoFundMe was issuing refunds, he didn't have that money. Well, technically he did, because that money was what he used to pay for. He should have had that money to pay for these buildings, but all the rest of the money, he didn't have that. It was all gone by that point. So in desperation, he settles on these shits. And here we are 6.5 years later, and they're still shits. But see, people need to ask questions. Where'd the money go? Right? Where'd the money go? Thank you, User Dubai. Staff Music says, how much money did he make? Did he make that service? How much money did he make? Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. Let me see. This was from an hour and a half ago. I don't even know, because I don't even know what we were talking about. I'm so sorry. I apologize to people who send in super chats. I'm so behind in here. I apologize. Okay, thank you for the super chat, Staff Music. If you're still here, go ahead and post inside the chat room, and I can kind of address it. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. I apologize. Good Twin formerly AK says Umar just posted. Played. Yeah, we played it. We played it. It was short. But this is Umar. He's just testing the waters. At some point, he's going to come back on and he'll start live streaming and begging for money. He has no alternative. He doesn't have a job. He has time. He doesn't have many speaking engagements. Y'all go and look at his speaking engagement schedule. He ain't got nothing going on. That's why I'm saying, Umar, you should just go get a job. See, if Umar got a job and work 40 hours a week, that'll give him stability, and he can still get up there and beg. He ain't doing shit anyway. All right. Thanks, Good Twin, from the AK. Kimmy Kim says, even no responsible functioning adult has this much perpetual conflict everywhere they go. People got to start using common sense, just messy. You're absolutely right about that. The common denominator is Umar. And there's a slew. We can go back to 2005 and we see conflict with Umar, with the UNIA. We can look at his college career and see conflict. In fact, they kicked him out of PCOM. Umar was able to get back in, and Umar, you know how he's doing with the city of Wilmington, where he's making up all this shit, and then he's saying that it's racism and blah, 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 and I'm going to sue them. That's what Umar did with PCOM, and they finally conceded and ultimately gave a horrible decision on their part. They ultimately allowed him to receive the Psi D, And he talks about that. He says how he was going to go, I'm paraphrasing, how he was going to make a big deal out of it if they didn't give him this ID, and how he was going to, something about how he was going to report all this, and then it would become news and everyone would talk about it, blah, 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 going on and on. Well, it's like intimidation tactics. Just like he tried to intimidate me, it didn't work. Well, that's how he did with that school. And they didn't want a headache of dealing with this clown. They just want to get his ass up out of there. Huge mistake on their part, because what they did was they sanctioned a con man who's ravaged the black community now for over 2 decades. But when you give him that side D, he's used that and weaponized that against black people. A lot of the reason why Umar's been able to carry this shit on for such a long time and collect the amount of money he's collecting simply is because he has that side D. If Umar didn't have any degrees, would he have been able to pull this shit off? Absolutely not. If he had had just a bachelor's, would he have been able to pull this off? No. Master's? No, not to this degree. But a side D? Yeah. But he strong-armed his way into getting that side D. People need to be clear about that. So the point is that no matter where Umar goes, it's perpetual conflict that takes place. The SETI rant, the Zora rant, perpetual conflict. The Tariq Nasheed, Boyce Watkins rants. See him going in, trying to intimidate me too, by the way. You know, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's always something. Now it's the city of Wilmington. Y'all remember he was talking about how they were going to do an anti-protest, a figment of the imagination. Well, that's a total conflict that didn't even exist, but he makes it up inside of his own mind. Well, what about with his daughter? What about with his baby mamas? See, the list goes on and on and on. Who's the common denominator? It's Umar. Well, there's a reason for this. That's Umar's character. And if y'all think that somehow he's going to be able to run a functional, he can't even run his own fucking life. He can't even run his mama closet. The way I look at it, if you can't keep that space, your mama closet clean, and it ain't a lot of space, you ain't got no business. I'm gonna leave it, and y'all fill in the blank. You ain't got no business. It's just messy. Thank you, Kimmy Kim. Literally and figuratively. Sweet D says, thanks for playing Jago pick one toy from the treasure. What are you talking about? Thanks for playing Jago. Oh, yeah. Okay, Jay Morrison. Thanks for playing Jago pick one toy from the treasure. I gotta find that video of his wife when she got baptized, though. Boy, that was crazy. I could not believe that. I'm gonna have to put it in my notes to find it. I have it somewhere. Thanks, Sweet D, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Bravo says, Lenon, Umar just responded to you in a silent IG post showing them. He didn't say my name, though. You didn't say my name. Yeah, it's a tough time for Umar. That's why I didn't want to laugh. People were joking. I tried not to laugh, but it was funny. He's in really bad shape. And it's not just the Cookie Crush chat. It's not just me doing these live streams. Again, last month, first time ever, I did either a live stream or I posted a video every single day. It was punitive for Umar acting out a little bit too much. And that's what he got. Okay. Sometimes he oversteps his bounds, and I check his ass. Okay, that's what I did last month. The point I want to make is that right now it's difficult because it's not just what we're doing over here. There's plenty of other people who are covering Umar too. That's another thing, more than at any other point in history in terms of on YouTube at least. I don't check Instagram. I'm on the internet like that, Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, Facebook. But what I'm getting at is that. It's not just that, it's also his own followers and people who are following him. Some of them, they're just following him for the entertainment in the train wreck, but now they're speaking out more because of the shenanigans, going all the way back to when Umar called out his daughter and his baby mamas. And then the Lenon situation, I think that really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And then that filters into this whole thing narrative about the city of Wilmington, ultimately. Now the bank accounts being frozen, and I hacked his bank account, me and Lenon somehow, all this. What has happened is now his own followers are seeing through his BS and they're calling him out. And that's reflective on his Instagram post. Now, what will happen is ultimately Umar, he's going to have to come back because he has no other alternative. He needs money. He has a substance abuse issue. So he has to get up there and shuck and jive and shit. So at some point he's going to do that. But I guarantee you the people who are going to be inside of his chat room while he's live streaming, they're going to be going in on his ass real bad. And see, Umar doesn't take criticism well. But the thing is that when it's his own followers on the platform that he's mainly on, which is Instagram, he can't handle that shit. That's why, again, he get on there. He won't even say anything. He's just looking at the comments to see what people are saying, just to kind of gauge whether or not it's a proper time for him to come back. That his ego is hurt. It's called a narcissistic injury. But at some point, he's going to get over that because he has no choice. He gots to get that money. So he's going to be back. Thank you, Bravo, for the super chat. High Vibe says, have any of the donors considered a lawsuit? I'm not a lawyer, but seems like there may be grounds for legal action. Yeah, it's complicated for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you do it as an individual, it's going to be problematic because the amount of money that you would be paying a lawyer will be far more, in most cases, overwhelming than the amount of money that you would be able to recoup, unless somehow you made it to where Umar has to pay lawyer fees too. Okay, that becomes very complicated, very difficult too in some cases. There's other issues too, like people are in different states. There's other issues like they may have sent Umar money through CashApp, but Umar doesn't have CashApp anymore. The people sent him through GoFundMe. Well, even though GoFundMe was issuing refunds, at this that GoFundMe got shut down. So how do you mitigate those types of issues? And if it's for $200, is it worth it? If it's for $500, is it worth it? Is it $1,000? Is it worth it? Again, you're going to have to deal with lawyer fees. Also, that there's opportunity costs in terms of time. Okay, so these are I've thought about these types of things. Now, if the other thing that could take place that would kind of make this make more sense from a financial standpoint is if there was a class action suit. But then there's a lot of front end headway that has to take place wherein receipts are gathered and individuals are collecting data or information in terms of when they sent money, how much they sent, and on what platform they sent that money. That could be PayPal, that could be Cash App, GoFundMe, checks, money orders, cash into his PO box, so forth. See, it gets complex, it gets very complicated, and you would have to have enough people in the class action lawsuit to make it make sense so that if at some point charges are if they go to court and they win a case, that the amount of money that Umar would have to pay out would make sense, not only just for the money that the total amount that's going to be paid out to everyone who goes into this class action lawsuit, but also the lawyer has to get paid too. And then, of course, the most I guess a difficult aspect is that Umar doesn't have any money in the first place. So to go through all of that, all of the time, opportunity costs, all the money that's going to be spent, whether that is on an individual basis or in a class action suit, at the end of the day, Umar doesn't have any assets. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't even have a job. That's what I'm saying. It's a very complex thing. Now, there are situations where people will go through that process just to prove a point, but I'm not sure proving that point is worth the amount of money that they would have to come out of pocket, because not only that they send Umar money and they have to come out of pocket for the money that goes towards something that doesn't exist, FDMG, but then now on the back end, they have to put in more money in order to not get money because Umar doesn't have any money in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So it's a very complex thing. That's why I'm saying Umar is very diabolical. One other point too, a high vibe, is that Umar, he's lived his life for many years now on paper as if he does not have income on paper. So legally, he has no income. This goes back to 2011. We're talking 14 years where Umar, on paper, he doesn't have any income. I'm talking about personal income. That's why he sets up the nonprofits, because that money goes to, but he's not paying himself through that nonprofit. You see how shady this guy is? So who do they sue there for? Who do they file suit against? Umar. He has no assets. He has no job. He has no money. FDMG? Well, that's a shit show too. Where's the money? If Umar had money in that FDMG account, then a lot of this shit that's taken place more recently would not have taken place, because he would have paid the bills going all the way back to February of 2019. It's a very complicated situation. And again, people have to factor in opportunity cost, the amount of time that they would be wasting on this, the amount of money that they would have to put in, the lawyer has to get paid. And even if they were able to file suit against Umar and a judgment is made against him, Umar doesn't have any money or any assets anyway. So where are they going to get the money to pay the lawyer and to pay them and for them to recoup whatever it is that they're filing suit for? That is a complicated situation. But Umar knows that by on paper, legally speaking, he's showing as not having any income. And yet he's living off of donation money through this nonprofit, and he's been living off of this money for many, many years now. Yeah, diabolical. You see why I do Umar Johnson videos? That's diabolical. Same thing with the child support. He doesn't want to be on paper showing that he has income, because they don't want to, because he doesn't want to be in a position where they garnish his wages, and they had to do that in the past, but he gave all that up. His career as a school psychologist in part is because of that. He don't want to have to pay child support. So what happens is that the state, what they have to do is they go based upon minimum wage. If they can't, they can't find you having a income, they go based upon minimum wage, and they'll take a percentage of what would be minimum wage, and that's what you have to pay out in child support. That's diabolical. This guy done collected millions of dollars under a nonprofit, but he's using that money for his own lifestyle, and so therefore, on paper, he's showing that he has no income. All right. Y'all give me 2 more minutes. Thank you. High vibe. Rocky Dasaki says, I heard Umar wears his boxers. No, y'all don't do that. Come on now. Come on. Please. All right. What in the world? Yana says Umar's macking a fool out of a black therapist. What? He's macking a fool. What are you talking? I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you, thank you, Yadis. Mr. I don't give a shit says Umar taking donations for a bobsled team in Jamaica. Hey, sucker, you're dead. I remember that movie. I used to like that movie. My wife liked it too because she grew up out there for a little while. Thank you, Mr. I don't give a shizzle. Okay, let me get through these real quick because we gotta get up out of here. Corruption Point says why his character looked like Tyrone Magnus. Yeah, Umar, he's out there. He actually has a there is an action figure too. I have a picture of it. I just forgot to pull it up. I have to find it, but I have it. He had an action figure too made too because he wanted to be a superhero, a black conscious superhero. Understand that Umar, if you go back to 2005, that's not where his mindset was at. Now, again, he was shady back then though too, but that's not where his mindset was at. It's not like he had this grandiosity to where he wanted to see himself as a superhero. Now, all of this has progressed. Really, it's a devolution, though, in essence, because he goes from being a school psychologist to a quote unquote school principal to a cartoon character / superhero. And then shit really starts to go crazy. He starts calling himself King Kong Consciousness and, the Prince of Pan. You see this? He wasn't doing that back in 2005. Prince of Pan Africanism, the most requested scholar. And then he starts saying shit like, I'm the Black Christ. You see why I do more videos? Then he starts saying things like, I'm the Messiah. I have him when he was in Atlanta. He was talking about how he's here on a mission from God, and he's alluding to the notion that he's the Son of God, and he's here to do his Father's work. You go back to 2005. That's not what you see with Umar. But you see that steady progression. That narcissism just kicks in, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and that the delusion that he lives in, wherein he sees himself as really like a God figure, a Christ-like figure. No respect. Thank you, Corruption Point. By the way, how you all these things, Umar, but you living in your mama closet? Anyway, receipt king. Yeah, I have plenty of receipts. I can tell y'all, if we ever got together and just did receipt day, and I can just pull up a lot of stuff you guys have never seen, as it'd be videos and images. You guys would be amazed. He's been at this for such a long time, and his digital imprint fingerprint is massive. It really is. It's massive, and there's so much in there, whether it is in video format or in post or what have you, that's incriminating. There's a lot, a whole lot. I mean, we could actually live stream for days just on that. Thank you, Brian, and thanks for being around and being supportive for all these years. I appreciate you, bro. Salute. Isaiah says meditation sessions at the Pan African Bando. No, he came up with shit like that too. But see, there's times where before he got into all this freaky talk, because he did freaky talk too before 2019. It wasn't as crazy as it kind of got. When he did the For Sisters Only, he was getting to that freaky shit, P. Diddy type of talk, baby oil and all this shit. But what happens with Umar is that a lot of the stuff that he's later on, where he starts saying he's going to have these different events, a lot of it was kind of sexualized type of thing, because he will say we're gonna have yoga classes, but then in other videos he says, yeah, I can't wait. He be rubbing his hands and shit. I can't wait till we have those yoga classes and the sisters, they come dressed. And what do you mean come dressed? Because you know how when they put that stuff on with the yoga stuff, your men ain't trying to. We can't meditate. Cut it out. And y'all be doing that to us on purpose. We be in there sniffing and blinking. we must stay focused. Anyway, Umar, he he does that, and stuff starts to become sexualized. So even the idea of meditation and yoga and all that stuff, it's really covered. And what has happened over the years, you get into 2020, you get to 2021, 2022, 2023, a lot of that sexual debauchery that's been in Umar from the beginning, it starts to present itself, and he doesn't have the self-control to hide it anymore. Thank you, Isaiah. That's one of the big things, the differences that you see in Umar too, over the years. He doesn't have the discipline to keep it secret. Thank you, Isaiah. Usually Divine says, Umar Johnson shit at FDMG. Let me squeeze one. Okay, no. Thank you, Divine. ZZ Top says, someone needs to check on Umar. He was on IG at the Bandos with an Eagle jackets on, looking lost. Yeah. Ultimate beta male chatty patty getting his karma. Yeah. There's a reason for all of this. And again, I explained how it has a lot to do with where he's at, and his followers are really calling him out now. Is it extraordinary? I don't think their commentary is extraordinary, because this is no different than the commentary that I've been giving for many years, and many of you guys in the chat room you've given for many years too. A lot of people who've covered Umar over the years, that they've given this commentary and criticism. I think what's unique about it is that you have people who previously they weren't talking and speaking out against Umar like that, but now they do. So Umar, he's in a very rough situation because he can't get on IG right now, at least right now, and talk about FDMG and all this other the narrative that he's been spinning without his own followers going in on him. He can't do it right now. Now, there will be a time where he's going to be able to skate that. It's just a matter of time, but how long that will be, I'm not quite sure. But inevitably, Umar has to come back onto IG because that's his primary outlet, and he needs money. Not to open up a school, because while he's up there at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, he's not renovating shit. Is he dressed to renovate? That's another thing, you Umar Johnson followers. Does it look like Umar is dressed to be renovating up here? Look. Is this how we do it? He ain't renovating nothing. So why is he up there? Well, he's trying to fill the audience out, but he also wants to be in a position to get back to begging. Begging for what? There's no renovations taking place. He said renovations were done in 2023. What is he begging for? Well, he got to go get that plug. Look at it. It's sad. This is so sad. This guy's 51 years old. He's reduced himself to this. And it's been going on for such a long time. Does this look like someone who's doing some renovation work? He's not even dressed for that. He's dressed to go do what he needs to go do. It's a damn shame, Umar. I mean, really. It's a minstrel show at this point. Thank you, ZZ Top. You called him a chatty patty. Hell. Lene, what's up, Lene? Says an MD man acting as a woman started talking to Umar. He sent my phones and address to him. They never met, but asked him to shut me up. An MD man acting as a woman started talking to Umar. What? So Umar sends your phone and address to this person, and Umar and that person never met, but asked him to shut me up. What in the world? So this would be I don't know. I listen. I don't know what to say on now. When he was talking about the man jaw and all this other stuff, we're gonna leave that right there, because otherwise we're gonna be here for another month. Lene, what you do to this man? Damn. Telling me feeling bad for Umar. Damn, Lene. You really blew up his spot big time, because he ain't been the same since you came out and spoke on his ass. Y'all notice that? Poor Umar. No, it's his fault, but I'm just saying. Okay, thank you, Lene. Shout out to Lene too. Poor Umar. I'll tell you, he's had a rough year. Okay, I got this one earlier. Thank you so much, user 225. Brian T says, okay, I got that one too. That was funny. Black Wolf says, Lenon, don't feel bad. I just sent Umar a loaf of bread and peanut butter with a with a spork. He said next time make it a wheat bread. Yeah. He's one of them kind of people, because there's homeless people, if they ask for stuff and you don't want to give them money, so they say, well, let me give you something to eat, and you give it to them and they throw it on the ground. So I don't want that shit. I need some money. Where's my money, you broke bum? I said, whoa, wait a minute. I said, I was gonna want to go get you some McDonald's or something. I don't want that shit. You ain't got no money, do you? I said, no, I got some card. I got an ATM. Well, let's go to the ATM. I don't got time. Anyway, Umar's one of them kind of people, okay? The next time you better make it wheat bread, homeboy. Okay, thanks, Blackwood. Okay, let me do these other ones real quick because we gotta get up out of here for sure now. It's 3 hours. Actually, time not bad. But yesterday we did a mini marathon. So I'm saying I'm gonna do 2 hours a day. User 225 says, why he's standing like a toddler who's yeah, it's true. That's the thing I noticed about Umar when he's walking around. He reminds me of a little child, like just a lost little child. And he's just walking around goofy. Man, this is sad. I don't know why this makes me sad. And I know I've been going in on Umar and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe it's his face and he looks lost and the shelf. He needs to get to the plug, but he's walking around like a little lost toddler. Look at him. That's sad. I don't know. Thanks, user 225. Mustafa says it's always those who study psychology. Umar and his personalities are a study within itself. Dangerous. I totally agree. That's what I'm saying. I think later on down the line, when the school saga ends, I don't think that's going to be the end of Umar. And I have a sense that later on down the line that Umar as a case study, that he's going to be brought back up. And it could be like a 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Like I've talked about this in the past, that oftentimes the cult leaders, and when they have their cult, that's not when people are reporting on him. That's not when the documentaries are coming out or the exposés are coming. You may get people talk about him on YouTube like I do with Umar. But I'm talking about, where it's on Hulu or Netflix or some kind of platform like that. It's normally it's after that part, that whole series is over with. In this case, the FDMG saga. After that's over with, and then let's say if Umar is ever brought up on charges, and then everything comes to the forefront in terms of discovery, and it becomes public record. If and when that happens, that's when it starts to ramp up. We're in documentaries, full-fledged documentaries, like professional documentaries are produced, and you'll see stuff like that on Netflix or Hulu. The reason I'm bringing this up is because who knows, it could be 10 years from now wherein people start to go back and really study Umar from a psychological perspective, really study him. I'm talking about people who are psychologists themselves, people who are in the field, and they go back and start to research and study Umar. I think he's a fascinating case study. Right. But normally that happens after the fact, after a lot of the damage has been. And that's why I think that my work is important, because I've covered this in real time. I don't think this has ever been done before. At least I've never seen it. And a lot of the information that we've talked about, a lot of the receipts that I've pulled, a lot of the criticisms, and also the investigations that I've engaged in dealing with Umar, I think that's important information that people need to know. And I think it's going to be important later on down the line too, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. I might be dead by that time, huh? Thanks, Mustafa, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I know, so I know I say stuff like that every once in a while. I don't want people to think I'm macabre. It's just, I've come to grips with the idea, especially at my age, of death. It is, we all going at some point. We all got to go. so you might as well find some humor in the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's very macabre to say that, but that's just me. Thanks, Mustafa. I'm just playing. Thank you, Mustafa. Miranda says, hi, Cougar says, I hope the dog stopped shitting on his steps. That's wild. Yeah, and it's not just dogs too, Miranda. Did you know that? It's not just dogs, because Umar's, he's alluded to this, because he said, I don't know if it was human shitted on them. I mean, people be shitting up there. I'm sorry. I mean, how do you take millions of dollars and you got people shit up there? I mean, that right there, real quick, we're almost done. Give me 2 more minutes. That right there is crazy, because if you take millions of dollars out the black community just so that people can shit up there, that's a waste of a lot of money, family. He could have just put porta potty. By the way, someone brought this up. They had commented about this. If renovations are taking place, why aren't there porta potties out there? And I have videos where Umar, before he had water turned on, he told the guy he was up there supposed to be renovating. He says, oh, well, the toilets don't work. We don't got no running water, so you got to go outside and handle that. That's what he said. You go on outside and handle it. You know what to do. That's what he said. You know what to do. Anyway, Yeah, it's amazing because it's not just animals. There's human beings that's up there they be shitting too. In fact, there was one time where Umar went up there. I kid you guys, I'm not joking. He went up there and there was a bucket. And homeless people were using that. It was, you go up the steps. It was at the top of the steps. And homeless people were using that bucket to shit in and urinate in. Why would you take millions of dollars out of the black community so that you set up the scenario where people are shitting, literally shitting in buckets at the top of the steps? Make it make sense. Thank you, Miranda. But this is this whole Umar saga is just sad. Thank you for super chat. SJ says, wasn't this supposed to be a boarding school too? The delusion. Yeah, initially Umar conceptualized the boarding school. He's conceptualized a massive 500-acre compound that was in the shape of Africa with a man-made river called FDMG River that goes around this compound, 500 acres. And it was supposed to be a boarding school. That's what he conceptualized. Then that transfers over to the St. Paul's school scam, where he was gonna purchase St. Paul's, even though he said he put it in the bid. He never put it in the bid because the starting bid was $2.5 million. He didn't have $2.5 million to put down because in order to get $2.5 million, he would have to have done that in 2 months. He raised $2.5 million in 2 months? No. He's a liar. He said he put in the bid. He never put in the bid. Black Anonymous did the research and contacted the auction house, and they even told Black Anonymous that he didn't put in the bid. See, but the point is that was supposed to be a boarding school, dormitories for the boys and girls, mind you. Now that didn't happen. So what Umar does from roughly 2000 into 2015, because he was still talking about St. Paul's going, if memory serves me correctly, going into 2015. I have it inside of my notes. But what happens is from 2015 through 2019, Umar, he's going around the world talking about how he's trying to find a school. And at some point, it converts over from being a boarding, that conceptualization, it's no longer a boarding school for boys and girls. It's not even a boarding school anymore. It's just a school for boys. And that's where ultimately he settles on this Wilmington school scam that he's been running now for 6.5 years. Yeah, it's fascinating. The history. That's why, I'm real big on the timeline and the research. And I would encourage anyone, if you're covering Umar, make sure you're doing the research, because there's a whole lot more to all of this. And I'm going to tell y'all, if you do the research, it is content for years, literally. It provides content for not for a week, not for a month or for a year. I'm talking, it's content for years. You can go back to 2005. And just start working your way up. Content for years, right? Thank you. And then on top of that, you're learning more and more and more. You get your facts, you get your receipts, you compile your receipts, you archive them properly. Thank you, SJ, for super chat. Miranda says we have 1,000 likes, but we'd love to have 2,000. But seriously, yeah, next time make it 2,000, okay? Trifling ass. I'm just playing. We have a 1,100 likes. Thank you so much. Let me close this poll out. I forgot to close it out. So the poll question is: the city of Wilmington sabotaging Umar Johnson? 2,614 votes so far. 10% said yes, and 90% said no. Thanks to everyone who voted on that poll. I'll close it out now. Y'all give me 1 more minute. All right. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning on in. I appreciate you all. I really do. We'll be back tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow I'm going to come in. I'm not even going to do an intro song. We're getting right into the video. Okay. We'll get through it tomorrow for sure. The arrogant, what's up, arrogant Pew? Ain't seen you in a minute. Hope you're doing all right. Says Umar only sounds smart to dummies, respectfully. Yeah. Now listen, I don't want to call Umar Johnson followers dummies. What I would say is that there are people who are smart who follow Umar. But just because you're smart doesn't mean you have discernment. That's the key thing. I think that's one of the things that skill set for Black people in general, especially living here, but really living anywhere. The power of discernment is key. That's why when you see someone like Jay Morrison, he's up inside of a church trying to act like he's religious and he's a man of God and all this other stuff. You'll see right away with discernment that he ain't nothing but Sauron. That's Satan basically coming through. Real talk. I don't mean to be talking like that, but I'm saying like it needs to be said, right? So you can be smart, but you can lack discernment. This looks like people who, they may have degrees, but they don't have street smarts. You drop them off in the hood or near a hood and they get got. Whereas someone who's lived there and they've grown up or either in it or around it, they got some street smarts. They know how to survive and get up out of there if they need to get up out of it. You guys understand what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you can't be street smart and have education too, because I consider myself to have some street smarts, also happen to have a degree. Okay? But I also have discernment and I have critical thinking skills. So the point is that I wouldn't say that all of Umar Johnson's followers, that they're dummies. I would say that there are some who are, okay, just being fair respectfully. Okay? What I will say is that most of them do not have this, and I have to say all of them do not have discernment, because if you have discernment, you would see Umar for who he is, and therefore you wouldn't follow behind him. See, the thing is, it's clear to me that if someone, I'm going to put it in this term, this is probably going to be the only time that I'm ever going to do this, but if someone is operating like Satan and you have discernment, even if they're dressed like Christ, here we go. If you had discernment, you're going to see them for who they are. That's Satan. And if you see them as Satan, you're going to follow Satan? I ain't going to talk like this ever again. You're going to follow Satan? Even if they dress the part, even if they talking that talk, even if they're making all the promises, right? That they're going to do this for you. They're going to save your black boys. You see this? We're going to open up a school. We're going to keep them from the school to prison pipeline. We're going to help them this, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to help you black queens. I'm going to make sure that you blah, blah, blah. They're saying all the right things. But if you have discernment, it's not going to change the fact that ain't nothing but Satan talking. That's discernment. I ain't going to never talk like that again. I just want to be clear about this. So the issue, I think, especially when it comes to the black conscious space, is that many people do not see see the person that they're looking at for who that person really is. And in this case, Umar Johnson, because they lack discernment. It could be Jay Morrison. It could be Polite. See, that's a crazy one right there, because Polite was out. He was out there with it. It wasn't like he was hiding shit. He had his women dressing like, real talk, had them dressing like hoes. Real talk, no disrespect. Parading them around like they hoes. No disrespect. You guys know how I am. Okay. That was so blatant and right there in your face, but there were still people, because they lacked discernment. They didn't see him for who he was, Satan. Boy, this show was hot tonight. Real talk. Okay, I ain't gonna never talk like that again, but I want to be clear about something, that's what we see with Umar Johnson. So it's not that they're all dummies. Some of them are, respectfully. I got to throw that respectfully in here, respectfully. Some of them are, yeah. But I would say that most of them have some level of intelligence, but they lack discernment. And discernment is powerful. Okay. Thank you, Arrogant People Podcast. Appreciate you. Okay, real quick. Y'all give me 30 seconds. SJ Talks in Life says he used that money for his trips and dates. Yeah. He traveled all over the world. I remember he used to brag about his mileage. He used to post how many frequent flyer miles. That's not a good look. What are you talking about? He ain't even got a job. Ain't no telling how many tens of thousands of dollars that Umar has spent, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point over the last 11 years that he spent just on travel, on other people's money. All that money's supposed to go into FDMG, right? If Umar didn't travel for 1 year and focus on FDMG, he would have had the money to pay off all this stuff and wouldn't have to be on Father David's show whining and complaining about it, right? That's a whole nother era I haven't really delved into, but just the trips and all of the traveling, how much does that cost? Living in and out of hotel rooms, not all that's being paid for by the other people who are bringing him out. Food as he's snacking and shit, and you know, all this stuff, ordering a room service, rental cars while he's traveling around. That's all black people's money. That money's supposed to be going to FDMG. Thank you, SJ Talk. Good Twin says, let's play Snow Bunny Love to close. Okay, no, don't do that hashtag. Don't do that hashtag. Now, the brother who produced Snow Bunny, he did it with AI, but what he's doing right now, and I gave him some advice in terms of how he can monetize that, because I'm really big on that. If you're going to be on social media, you're going to be producing content. You should monetize, because your time is your life and time is money. Therefore, there is an aspect of life that should be associated with money. It should be run as a business. So this brother, he's a good brother too. I gave him some advice and a whole list of things that he could do to get started so that he can monetize not only the songs that he produces through AI, but also he does AI videos. And that market is huge. It's wide open. And so what I told him is that I wouldn't, because he has a full version of Snow Bunny Love. And I told him I won't play the version that I have until he gets settled in and he actually starts to play the full version. Okay. And that's a promise that I made to the brother. And I told him I don't think he realizes it, but for him to be where he's at with AI at this point, where it's really the early stages of it, and to have that level of expertise in it, that this is something that he can transform into something that really brings significant income over the next 5 to 10 years. That's how I look at it from a business standpoint. Okay? Thank you. And then I told him once he gets everything set up, I'll promote him. And then I gave him suggestions on other things that he can do, because it's not just AI that he can do with Umar. He can do AI productions even outside of Umar, and it could be profitable. Okay. Thanks, good twin from the AK. Giannis says, I meant he's doing more harm to the credibility of black people. Okay, I got you. Yeah, Umar, one of the biggest criticisms that I have of Umar, I don't tend to talk about this, is that he's damaged a lot of people, black people, in terms of the faith that they have in other black people. So if you have someone who claims to be a great black leader, and they're going to be doing all these things, and then he says he needs this money to do it, and people send him millions of dollars at this point, even though in 2025, Umar is telling people that he hasn't even raised a million. He's such a con man and a liar. But if that goes on, and it's been going on for such a long time, over 11 years now, that's really going to start to impact black people's trust in each other. And I have a serious problem. It makes me upset when I think about it. Okay, this is probably the personal aspect when it comes to Umar, because if you have black people who are in need, seriously are in need, whether it is they have a project that they want to get off the ground, or it's just personal, and so you have someone like Umar who's already betrayed the confidence of other black people. So when someone else steps up to the plate and they have something legitimate where they need help in, then the support isn't going to be there like it was before, because those same people who would have supported, they've been betrayed by Umar. And so the trust is no longer there. See how that's problematic? Yeah, he's caused a lot of harm, and he's betrayed so many black people in the trust of black people, and that will resonate for years to come. It's not just for now; it could be decades. See the damage that Umar has done. It's incredible. It really is. Thank you, Giannis. I appreciate the super chat. Derek says, "Shout out to the yoga stuff." I know. Okay. Well, I tell you, see, the old school yoga wasn't. They didn't dress all like that. Women, nowadays, boy, I tell you, thank the Lord. All right. Thanks, Derek. How's it going, Texas Deep the Super Sticker? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We almost done. User 225 says, "Wait, did Umar Johnson actually?" Okay, I got that one. Thank you for the super chat. Rob says people shit on Seb's going to pay $500 a month through it. Yeah, I know that's another way of looking at this. Even the idea of having these abandoned buildings there in Wilmington, it makes no sense. Again, like I said before, the year before he purchased these abandoned buildings, Wilmington, Delaware was ranked 6th or 7th in the nation for violent crime per capita. And then you have all these other issues with the homeless population, in and around those buildings. You have issues with the drug trafficking going in and around those buildings, other stuff too that's taking place. And so the idea that a parent is going to pay $500 a month to go there is just crazy. It makes absolutely no sense. And it's an impoverished community. See, now here's the thing. If Umar was legit, the buildings were secure, if he had faculty and staff, he had a team, and it was a legit professional establishment. Okay, listen, $500 a month, but there should be some sort of way to where parents would have to come out to pocket $500 a month, whether that is they can go for a grant, they can apply for it. But see, Umar, he's not working allegedly in that sphere where there's grants and all this kind of stuff. But that's just a comfortable excuse for Umar so that he can say, I don't have enough money to do all these other things and people have to pay for it. But really, he doesn't have enough money because he spent most of the money on himself that he's accumulated. There's no way that Umar should not have something functional at this point after let's just say from 2014 to current, after 11 years. He should have something taking place after raising millions of dollars. No excuse whatsoever. So the tuition issue, it's a problem in and of itself. You can't run a school based just simply on tuition and donations. It's not going to work. And furthermore, it's an impoverished community. Those parents aren't going to have enough money to be paying $500 a month. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay? Thank you, Rob. And then user 225 says Umar Johnson will pick through his. Okay, all right. Well, on that note, family, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I know we didn't get to the main video for the day, but we kind of went on a bit of an excursion and got into some stuff that I think is equally important. What we'll do tomorrow is we'll focus specifically on the second half of the Umar Johnson interview with Father David. And what I'll do is I won't even do an intro. We'll come right on in tomorrow and we'll get started right with that video and we'll get through it for sure. I'll promise I won't get sidetracked or anything like that. Maybe we'll get a little sidetracked. I won't get petty. I may maybe get a little petty, but we'll make sure that we finish that video up tomorrow. And then at some point, I don't know if we'll do it this week, but we have to get back to, I want to get to the video with a brother who went up there and took video footage of the exterior, and he does a full tour, and it looks absolutely horrible out there. I mean, Umar, he's in a really bad situation, but it's his own doing. He can't blame anybody but himself. And like I said many, many times before, Cookie Crush Chat's undefeated. All right. Thank you guys for tuning on in. And if you enjoyed the show and you haven't hit that like button, make sure you hit that like button before you head out the building. I want to thank everyone who sent in super stickers and super chats. Listen, when I say this, listen, I truly mean it. I am so appreciative and so thankful. And I thank the Lord that the blessings have flowed. I don't take it for granted at all. And I mean that sincerely. Also, thanks to the mods for handling the business side of the chat room. Thanks to everyone who comes into the Cookie Crush Chat, because the Cookie Crush Chat's undefeated. And I want to thank everyone for all your support. And we'll continue to rock out with this Umar Johnson saga. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay, listen, I love y'all, and y'all take care. Peace.